My name is Tyler Fornes, and I am one of the co-hosts of the Good, the Bad, and the Hungy AEW podcast here on the Voice of Wrestling Podcasting Network. We take a broad scope approach to the world of All Elite Wrestling and the entire universe of Tony Khan. We talk about the big matches, the big stars, the promos, the storylines, and we also look at it from a big picture perspective. How are things going to change over the course of the next 10 years with AEW still in the picture? How are companies like WWE going to adapt and adjust to AEW? Are they going to be a similar way like they did with WCW in the late 1990s? Will there be a counterpunch? We talk about all of that and more on The Good, the Bad, and the Hungy every week on the Voice of Wrestling Network.
All you homeowners have unique needs. Some feel the need to paint their door a vibrant shade of blue. Others have the need to decorate their bathroom with fish, anchors, and other nautical items. And because each homeowner has unique needs, Geico helps you get the right coverage for your home and what's in it. That way, you get exactly what's right for you, even if your needs are unique. Get more with Geico.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello and welcome back to Nights of Nitro, Days of Thunder's occasional look into what the fuck is going on Monday nights. I'm your host, your Mr. Monday Night, I guess, on this occasion, Dave Ryan, and I'm joined as always by my faithful co-host, Stagger Lee Malone. Lee, Nights of Nitro 13, unlucky for some? Are we included in that?
Yes, pretty much so. But I will say, if you are Mr. Monday Night, does that mean I am the Fonzie to your RVD, or does that mean I am the perpetual rival Jerry Lynn to your RVD?
Or are you the Sabu to my RVD, because you are in fact cancelled?
Hang on, why am I cancelled?
I don't know. I know we're not releasing this for like a week and a half after this comes out, so I'm just taking a guess you'll get cancelled.
Listen, I am on the right side of history with Cope, so I will.
I'm trying to reverse our bad juju where like we put over a bunch of wrestlers the first 2 years of this podcast that then got absolutely rightfully cancelled.
Yes.
That now I might do a reverse thing, and instead of like talk great about somebody who then gets cancelled, I'll say someone's going to be cancelled, and then like maybe you win the lotto or something.
Hey, anything's possible.
Yeah, so maybe that.
Yeah, that's the good thing about recording in the future, where we know everything that's going to happen 2.5 weeks from now when the show is released.
100%, yeah. How we end up being so timely all the time.
Yes,
over here.
as always. I mean, we have said since the beginning of this show, this will be the first podcast to have a posthumously appearance. Posthumous appearance.
I did say
by one of us.
I did say a stated life goal was to be the first posthumous podcaster. Was that episode 1?
I think it was either 1 or 2. It was very early.
It was very early doors. I planted that particular flag, and that's your duty.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, you have to hit post on that. I'll be dead. Like, how am I going to hit post?
Oh, I thought you said I had to Vincent Van Gogh it and die to get famous.
No. You just have to, if you outlive me.
Oh,
you have to. Yeah.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah.
I think
that's guaranteed, like, because you're ancient, like.
Hey, listen, I feel it. I feel it every fucking day.
Yeah. The road alone, you brother.
Hey, but I'm just gonna sit here and sip my whiskey.
Yeah. How are things over at Castle Malone? How have you been? Up to much lately?
Up to much. I mean, as you know, I was in Manchester recently. I went to see our beloved Manchester United.
Yes.
with regards to family, like all is good. You know, wife was well. Still speaking to me, which is always a bonus. That could have changed, but that very much could have changed by the time this episode drops.
That's something I could have tried to predict that might well have been true.
You know, the kids are good. Connor is now. You will like this. He's now an 11-a-side soccer player.
Okay, big ups to the big dog.
So he had his first 11-a-side game, just last weekend.
Is he age now where he has to kind of pick a position and stick to it?
He's a centre half.
Not too far on the pitch from his old man.
Well, no, I have to say, the first game, their keeper wasn't available, so he did play the second half and goal. Did a good job. Yeah. He was very, he was Neuer-esque. He was sweeper keeper.
Do you think in the back of his head he thought about it like a career as a goalkeeper?
Yes.
He saw your leg explode that time.
He actually wasn't there for that.
The poor kid would have died of embarrassment.
No, I'll tell you what.
My dad's leg nearly fell off. Oh, he must be like in the midfield in the engine room there. He gets a lot minutes on the cross, does he? No, he was the goalkeeper. He was reaching for his Lucasade Sport. The fucking kneecap blew off him.
Why should his back so bad? Oh, so many fucking goals conceded.
What's like the dumbest sports injury you've ever seen, like in person?
Oh, the dumbest sports injury. God. I have seen somebody break their own leg trying to tackle somebody.
Okay,
like trying to do in somebody else on a football pitch, and they hurt themselves.
Brilliant, ultimate hubris moment.
I didn't see it, so I won't say I saw it. But while we were on break in school, we had somebody try to hop over the fence, and because of where I grew up, our fences were topped with spikes.
Yeah.
And there was a ball sack ripped.
Oh, dear. Oh, no. That's the nightmare scenario, isn't it? I'll take a look. I'm an expert in breaking my leg, and I'll take that. I'll even take my ACL, MCL simultaneous tear over a ball sack rip. Thank you very much.
That was a gruesome one. That's the stuff of lore.
Yeah. The ones I see, I don't know if I ever. Stop me if you've heard this one on a microphone before. I'm sure over whiskies in some bar in Dublin or Germany or the UK, I have told you this, but if I've said it on the podcast before. So there's a couple. One. Which one will I go with first? Yes. So I will redact names to protect the stupid. But we used to play, so in our secondary school, there was like a gym and then there was like a tarmac court. And out on the tarmac court, they would set up like a tennis net.
Okay.
And two lads were playing tennis. Grand, nothing special happened in the game, but when it was over, one of the guys thought, you know the way you go up and you do code of honor handshake at the net at the end?
Don't say you tried to jump to that.
He tried to jump the net.
Oh, no.
Both feet caught in the net. He swung over and broke both arms.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So, funnily enough, and this actually links into wrestling, because thanks to wrestling, I gave him his nickname because he was in one of those things where because he fucked his shoulders up as well doing it. So he was in one of those solid casts where your arms are up. So I was calling him Big T. Well, because he looked like a capital T walking around the school.
Fantastic.
Then there was a guy who, similar to you, it wasn't that he was going for trying to hurt somebody else or tackle somebody else, but it was a guy who was a goalkeeper, and he slid on a ball as a guy was sliding towards him, and the sound of both his shins breaking, I will never forget as long as I live. It sounded like when somebody takes a huge bundle of dry twigs and snaps them. I believe it was like a full break on one shin and a hairline fracture on the other.
Oh my God.
But it was one of the loudest things I've ever heard in my life. And then, the screaming as well. But maybe the funniest ones were all inside in our squash court, with a squash court at the back. Which was just a room. Like, don't think I went to some sort of fancy prep school or something like that. It was just a room in the gym they clearly had no idea what to do with because it was not fit for any other purpose. So they drew the lines for a squash court on it.
You didn't go to Alan Farrell's posh school?
No, I didn't.
No.
But two things happened in that room. One was that when they got bored playing squash, so it was a lot of the guys that we would have in school called the grungers. The guys who were wearing like the Marilyn Manson hoodies, the German army jackets, stuff like that, who didn't want to do PE. They'd realised if they went into the squash court, made noise for a while and played for a few minutes when they heard the teacher coming, they could get away with just sitting down on the floor for the rest of it. They got bored one day and decided they were going to play a game of lights out squash. So they turned off the light. There's obviously no windows in the squash court, so you can't see anything. They started playing, and then one lad, Pa, fucked a racket at somebody's head and knocked them out.
Fucking hell.
And the other one was when a guy in our class, Keith, not Brony, got F5 through a table. Through a school table, like a proper, not a balsa wood table by any stretch. He got F5 and the table gave way.
I actually something similar to me. I think I've mentioned this on the show before, but I genuinely got choked out in a class one day.
Really?
Yeah, somebody came up behind me and put the old Kata Hajime, which was always a favourite on between all of us. Put it on me, and because I refused to tap out, he just kept cranking it in. Yeah. To the point is,
passed out.
The last thing I heard was the couple of the girls screaming. And I woke up like two minutes later.
Oh dear.
Mm-hmm.
That was quite off piste. I suppose I want to mark this episode because, as you pointed out just before we came on, we're kind of batch recording a few of these because on current schedule, this might be the last free feed show you guys hear me on for a couple of months. When an undetermined period of time. I'm hoping only a few weeks, but you know how these things go. As El Hijo de Dave is approaching, pretty much 2 weeks from when.
Not El Hijo del Dan, like we saw on Twitter this week.
No.
Oh, okay.
But yes, my son will be arriving, and I am taking 3 weeks off work, both like shoot job and stupid internet shouting job. 3 weeks is the plan, which means you should only miss me for like 1 or 2 shows on here, but we are planning a contingency if I'm away for like twice as long. So you will be in the capable hands of my good buddy Lee Malone, who has watched the best in the business do it on this show for 5 years now.
The contingency plan being who's in my contact lists and who still responds to my DMs.
And who can answer my question on how Audacity works? Kieran put the phone on silent for a couple of months.
Hey, listen, Kieran has many podcast ventures. I doubt I will be the worst person he will speak to or editing at some point.
Yeah, well, he's already spoken to you as well, so the Band-Aid's ripped off there. He's had to edit you before.
That is true.
Yeah, so he may be getting troubleshot at some point for podcasting info. But yeah, I kind of just wanted to mark it. We're kind of in that space now where we both kind of like are desperate for him to arrive, but also kind of went like, please don't come a day early either, because you know it's that whole thing. Like no matter how ready you are, you never think you're ready, and you're not ready.
No. But it's funny. Like
it's like you are and you aren't. Like
where I work at the moment, there's a young woman. She's probably in her early 20s, and she's pregnant with her first child. And I was saying to her, it's like literally only the past week or two, and I was saying it's funny. Like everyone will ask you, "Are you ready? Are you ready? Do you have this? Do you have that?" And I said, and none of it matters.
Yeah,
I said because and I think I don't know if I said this to you privately or on the show, because when the child arrives, it's just. You just do things. You don't think about it. You just do them.
Yeah, and the thing that like the midwife has told us is like the baby only knows and wants you to, like for comfort. It only knows you. It doesn't know if you've bought the fancy things, if you've all the equipment. Like once he's getting fed and one or the other of you is around, it will be fine.
Yeah, it's your voice. It's Emma's voice. It's Emma's smell.
Yeah.
Like, that's the 3 most important things in the child's life for the first, 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah. It's going to be fine. Like, but
You will be fine.
Yeah.
It's daunting.
Yeah, for sure. So, like, if you thought, again, I said it when we announced the pregnancy on the show, if you thought we were already a dad core podcast, just you wait. Just you wait until I actually have license to tell my bad jokes.
Oh, listen, the dad jokes are going to be off the chart when you return.
Oh, truly. Right, will we crack into it?
I mean, this is a double review show, so we probably should get to it.
A real nice the line was crossed, you might say.
There was definitely a line crossed, and it wasn't.
Not a line of high quality, I'll tell you that.
It fucking wasn't. I have some fucking takes on what is supposed to be a historical night.
We watched 4 hours of wrestling for this show, and if there was 20 good minutes, I would be surprised. We are again met with the horrifying reality that our rose-tinted glasses for this time are just that. Like, I don't think we would be really harping on a well-worn spot on this podcast to just go, like, guys, WWF TV sucked. Like, it is, I will say, marginally better at the start of 2000, and I know that through 2000 it does improve, because, like, again, we will talk about this show where the mid-card gets an injection of people who know what they're fucking doing, so it can't help but be, like, watchable.
Let's start with Raw tonight. I know we normally start with Nitro, but let's start with Raw. But I need to say this. This was and I know the Radicals show up, and that's why we're watching this show.
Yeah.
This was a horrendous episode of TV.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you just said it there. We know 2000 gets better. 2000 is a very kind of vaunted year in WWF fans' eyes. It's like, oh, that was the year they had great wrestling in the mid card.
I'm gonna pump the brakes on great.
and you know, they had Triple H and Cactus on top, and then Triple H and The Rock, and you know, people talk about it being this great year. This wasn't good. This is post Rumble 2000, which is, you know, we said it, a pretty damn good show.
Yeah.
This episode of TV, this is, I think it's like 93 minutes, but the ads cut out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just was never good.
Now, whereas it's never good, what I will say about it, compared to 99 and compared to our couple of trips to SmackDown, I do think it went by at quite a clip. I don't think I felt like I suffered watching this like I watched some of their 99 WWF stuff. And I'll say the same for Nitro as well when we get to that later, is that you really do feel it's much breezier now that the third hour is gone. Mm-hmm. Like, it really, I don't think the quality of the 2 hours increases at all, but I feel less like I've been to fucking war when I finish.
Oh, absolutely. Like, the losing the third hour of Nitro absolutely makes the show a lot easier to watch. But maybe I'm coming in with this going, oh, you know, 2000 WWF, and the night the Radical show up, and there's, you know, the roster is full of fucking these very good underrated wrestlers. This wasn't that episode, man. This just was not good.
But there's that thing of, like, there's that thing of how there's loads of good wrestlers, but a lot of them, again, they're stuck in the mid-card, or they're not fucking doing anything with them. Mm-hmm. You know? Like, I know Vince Russo's vaunted thing about, like, everyone has a story, and that's still true of, like, most people who are on television in 2000. But just because they have something to do doesn't mean it's good or interesting. You know?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, all of the stars were on this show.
All the stars were here.
But the show just, like, it did not flow well. It did not come across well. And, like, I'll say it now. I thought Nitro was a much better show than Raw this week.
I would say... I would say so. I would say... That's not to say it was a great Nitro, but I would say that, like, I watched these like kind of relatively close together, and I am struggling to remember most of Raw, whereas like I do have for good and bad reasons, I do have thorough memories of a lot of the incidences on Nitro.
I think the good stuff on Nitro was much better than anything good on Raw, and the bad stuff on Nitro was much less bad than the bad stuff on Raw.
Yeah. Right. Let's just do it. Another thing that I thought was really funny is that both these shows are in the state of Pennsylvania tonight.
Yes, I did note that. Yeah.
In Pittsburgh for Raw and Wilkes-Barre near Scranton for.
Do you think Shane Douglas was parked in the middle between both shows, going, "Oh, which way do I go?"
I'd say if the show had happened like a week earlier, possibly. He's like, who was that football player? Was Ben Johnny that fell asleep in the airport and his transfer collapsed?
Oh, I haven't heard that one. I know
there was somebody in. Go on, yeah.
The famous one is Odin Wingy. Out the window
to go home.
Yeah, pushing out hanging out the windows, saying, "Oh, I need a transfer," and
yeah,
Sky Sports News breaking to him that the transfer window was closed.
I think it was Ben Johnny fell asleep waiting for his plane and then missed the deadline to sign.
Incredible.
A classic one.
Classic Barclays, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Men like to do nothing but sit around and name obscure footballers all day. That tweet cut through me to the core. Right. Raw 349, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, January 31st, 2000. A 6.6 rating.
Fuck me. How?
What do you think the companies now would do to sniff half that?
Like, if one of these, like AEW or WWE, got a 3.3, just like off the back of the fucking Super Bowl, they would be doing backflips.
Yeah. Anyway, we start straight away. Like, this is weird for Raw, because I just assume every time I fire up a Raw, we got like a 10 or 20 minute promo. Because this, people, I found a rose-tinted glasses thing is to say that the 20-minute promo to open Raw was a Reign of Terror Triple H invention. But as we've kind of documented over 99, it started way earlier than that.
It started with Vince and Austin.
Yeah, this is a thing. This is, I suppose, if you want to say, the hors d'oeuvres for the Reign of Terror. This is your first little Triple H Reign of Terror, but at least Triple H could still go a bit back here, pre-quad tear. But we actually start with a bit of action, if you want to call it that. The World Tag Team titles are being defended as Mr. Ass and the Road Dogg defend against Al Snow and Steve Blackman. It's head cheese, everyone.
Yeah, what does everybody want? Not fucking this.
Yeah. Now, first thing. All-timer wrestling belts, these tag belts.
Oh, I love these tag belts.
You do not have to give credit to ISIS moments. One thing I will credit WWE for is them restoring the design of those belts for the SmackDown tag team.
I was just gonna say, haven't they brought them back for the
yes.
DIY belts? Yeah.
There's no color in them now. It's just pure gold, I think.
No, it's gold and blue, I think, isn't it?
Was it gold and blue?
It's not like the classic.
It doesn't shine. It doesn't show up very well in most of the photographs I've seen of it. Yeah, love this. Look, as a kid, head cheese was funny. It was funny. It's not funny now because I'm an adult.
Do you know what I did get a laugh out of, and it was totally unintentional? What? Is that as Road Dogg is doing his, ladies and gentlemen spiel, there's a sign right behind his head saying, "You are heels!" !
This is the start of insider fans creeping into broadcasts with signs and stuff, and I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it.
Come on. I thought that was a good one.
That's fine. I think maybe because we're also irony poisoned now that I'm just oh God.
You prefer when your fans bring Dave LaGreca heads, do you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I do have a soft spot for the increasingly niche video game reference signs on AEW shows. Those are good.
Get out of here, you and fucking Matthew.
Yeah. Well, that's
Actually,
Matthew being the chronicler of those has really helped me when I missed them.
Have you seen any of Matthew's recent videos?
No, I haven't.
I have
fallen way behind.
He now includes clips from our good friends of Journey Through Gorilla Island.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't even know if they're aware of this.
No, I don't know if they are.
They've been on the past 2 or 3 episodes, yeah.
Oh, that's very funny. It'd be very funny if they don't know.
Yeah, you got to tell them. Obviously, I'm not on the Twitter anymore, so I can't tell them, but
Yeah. Okay, sorry, I nearly skipped to Nitro there for a second. Al backstage, so the head cheese thing is puerile and it's getting pops, but, it's still a show run by Vince McMahon, so you have to beat every mediocre joke into the ground. So you have Al Snow before they come out pitching alternate team names such as Snowstorm and Snowballs, with props including an umbrella, a Macintosh raincoat, and a thong.
yes.
Can I talk about one thing I do like about the presentation of this team?
Was that Steve Blackman no-sold everything else no did?
Okay. Yes, he's a legendary straight man in a silly duo. Yes. No, it's that Steve Blackman's theme song fucking rules.
Yes, it does. And also, we still had heel Al Snow music.
Yeah, it's one of those Jim Johnson was cooking moments where it's like, picture that if you've never heard it, picture the theme song for a wrestler whose name is The Lethal Weapon, Steve Blackman. Mm-hmm. You have pictured the exact theme song. It is
did they
note
peak
perfect
when they had Steve Blackman come out with his bag of weapons every week?
Quite possibly. And then you have it kind of jumps the shark then when Raven is here, so there's
the
two
shopping
guys
carts.
doing that. Yeah, he brings out the shopping carts, and there's just two guys doing the fucking same gimmick. Mm-hmm. But that's about all the good I have to say. I was about to say that's all the good I have to say about Raw. It's definitely all the good I have to say about this, because this is fucking it doesn't go any length of time. The actual match part, the bit that's great is the angle afterwards, where the Radicals show up.
The Radicals show up 3/4 of the way through the match.
And by 3/4 of the way through the match, Lee means about 1 minute and 45 seconds into the match.
And JR says the word radical 5 times in the space of
Holy shit.
40 seconds. The radicals!
Yeah.
Because you
they're
know Vince McMahon is in his ear shouting, JR, radicals! Say they're radicals!
They're trying to beat you over the head with that shit, and also beat you over the head as they had disagreements with their former employer. They are no longer with the Ted Turner organization.
Yes. Did you like JR saying, King, I know they were in negotiations with ECW and the Japanese companies.
Yeah. Oh, look, we will be coming to talk about Jerry Lawler quite a bit. Yeah. Unfortunately, on this show. He said the action of them sitting front row is radical. That was the first radical.
Radical.
JR, claiming they've not signed, which is preposterous. It's one of those things where, you're appealing to all the internet fans, right, with this by saying the internet is abuzz, they've not signed. But it's exactly the internet fans who will have probably been online that weekend and found out they signed.
Yes. They will have known what hotel they stayed in Connecticut when Shane Douglas couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, we read in The Observer last week about how, as of last week, it wasn't certain. It was assumed, but it wasn't certain. Mm-hmm. My memory, not being tremendously online myself at the time, my memory is people knew.
From what I remember,
there was a couple. I think there was a couple of signs visible on this show, if I recall correctly.
Well, it's the whole we did the Jericho debut.
Yeah,
it was everybody knew it was Jericho, but when it turned out to be Jericho, everyone lost their shit.
Yeah.
Even though we all knew it was Jericho, it was still holy shit, it's Chris Jericho. And I'm gonna say it, Dave. I think this was such an underwhelming debut.
I think they could have sacrificed bigger names for this. Because do you know what it comes off weak compared to? Like, I think of a great Invasion debut angle, and like the Nexus was it felt way more dangerous, for example.
Yeah.
Obviously, things panned out better for the Radicals than the
yes, they did.
Than the Nexus, but yeah, it felt like just. I think I would have liked them sitting in the crowd for longer, for like or like up in a skybox. And maybe at some point they disappear, and then you're like, oh my god, we don't know where they are in the building. I think I prefer that to this whole
the front row for fucking 40 seconds.
40 seconds, and then like the rest of the night is them glad handing backstage. Didn't do anything for me.
It's just like you said it's that we have this rose tinted idea of what this debut was. And ultimately, it was, oh my god, they're front row. Oh my god, they're hitting Road Dogg with a frog splash.
Yeah. No real, it got a big reaction. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Well, I say it got a big reaction. Benoit and Guerrero got huge reactions. And people were happy to see the other guys. But it was definitely the headbutt and the frog splash got the biggest reactions of the lot. It was weird though, like even how it started. I think I would have preferred a kind of more them just jumping the fence when all of them were in the ring, rather than like a contrived spot happens directly in front of them, someone gets thrown at them and they take exception to it. I did say, like I said, I don't like that they went to do the glad handing for the night, but I do like it for a moment added a bit of danger that they just walked up the ramp rather than back into the crowd. I was kind of hoping they'd go cause havoc backstage. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That kind of sets you up for who the fuck are they going to next? Like, are they going to go to, like, Triple H and Steph are running the show at the moment. Like, Vince is all gone at the moment. So are they going to be like, you know, pounding on the door, demanding a job? Are they going to like start attacking members of DX? Are they going to attack other babyface? Like, that would have been a cool thing for the night, but yeah, they went another way.
And like JR did try to push. He's like, "Oh my god, they're going back up the ramp. They're going backstage. What's going to happen?" And they cut to a break, and then like we come back from the break, and it's just like Mick Foley going, "Ha ha, we showed them." Yeah, and it's like, what? Like, what has been accomplished here? Absolutely fucking nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like they're here, and like I guess really the only objective they probably had is like, let's do this as quickly as possible after the show starts so no one watches Nitro tonight.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, I think it did feel like we need to rush. I think that's the reason there's no promo. Like, I think it's like we're not going to wait 20 minutes to do this in the middle of the hour. And we're not going to wait till the top of the hour either. We're just going to do it straight away so you know this has happened and you're less interested in watching Nitro. That's my read of it. We then say, like, and this was a wrinkle that I forgot about this whole thing, was it kind of makes sense in one way, but then they kind of, like, again, they hotshot this whole thing where Cactus is backstage saying they're his mates and he invited them. I don't know. Both because of the hotshotting and just because of what I want that Cactus character to be at this time in WWF, it doesn't work for me at all. He should be the lone gunslinger.
It makes Cactus so much less cooler. Like, Cactus was this fucking outlaw, like, I don't mean to use this word, like, but degenerate fucking hardcore wrestler. And now he's just Mick Foley with mates.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's just talking like, I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't work for me one bit. And unfortunately, it's not even the only time this would happen, as I say. But yeah, just them glad handing. Kurt is out doing a bit of a rock spoof promo, saying he's come back to Pittsburgh, which is really funny. Absolutely. You want to talk about how quickly this guy got it, that he's getting this kind of heat in his hometown.
So good.
Think of how quickly you have to be to get this nuclear heat for somebody who won an Olympic gold medal who is from this town.
Less than 4 years ago. Like, there hasn't been another Olympic Games since he won.
Yeah. He is the reigning Olympic champion.
Yes.
He's from here.
He
and
is
they
so
fucking
good.
want him to die.
He is so good. Every time I watch Early Angle, I am just blown away.
Yeah.
Like, God,
He
what I'd
declares
give
it-
for somebody like that now.
He declares himself their new hometown hero. He slags off the Penguins because, of course, there has to be a sports team reference. And says tonight he's going to beat The Rock for the second time. We then get another. So there's two things that I did not remember happened on this same Raw that are etched in my brain for all time. One in a good way, not this one I'm about to talk about, and then the other one in a better way. This fucking haunts me as we saw the preview of the Snow Bunny Pit. I knew exactly what Raw this was then. I knew exactly what was going to happen, and I was very, very unhappy about it. The snow, in hindsight, does look like cocaine, and I imagine you could fill that Snow Bunny Pit with cocaine given some of the people that worked there at the time.
No, Sean wasn't there that week.
Maybe they're trying to lure him into the building with us.
So when people say Chef Sean is cooking, you know what they mean.
Yeah. This was now, he wasn't completely on the outs with them, so maybe this was just his supply in case he showed up to TV.
Maybe.
Because isn't it Judgment Day? It's Judgment Day when they have the big falling out after that. Like he's around in and out till Judgment Day.
No, it's post Judgment Day. So the idea was that post Judgment Day he was going to be more prominent, and Triple H was like, "No, you're fucked up," and basically went to Vince and said, "No, he's pretty fucked up. We can't be having that."
Yeah. That just kept there. That's like his rider, you know, like a bowl of blue M&Ms. It's like I need a family size swimming pool full of cocaine at all TV in case I decide to show up.
I just had an image or like a thought of Triple H, meeting with Vince and going, "But Dad, he's really fucked up."
Triple H says he's backstage with DX, and he said Cactus did invite them, but then again, this thing that we talked about last time where they're just dressing down the rest of DX, where he says, "It's your fault, Road Dogg. You invited them. This is your problem."
Yeah, he basically blames Road Dogg for attacking them.
Big Show busts in with his eyewitness Jim Dodson.
Yeah.
Because this is during the Big Show conspiracy victim era, where he's trying to prove to everybody that he won the Royal Rumble, not The Rock. And Jim Dodson from security is his eyewitness, because Triple H last week said he needed an eyewitness, and Jim Dodson says, "Yeah, The Rock's feet touch first," and Triple H says, "No, I want a video." And he's like, "God!" And then they just fucking slag off his hair.
Yeah. Triple H is like, what happened to your hair? He's like, don't worry about the haircut.
I don't know what Road Dogg and Billy Gunn have done that the last two shows we've seen them on, they've been dressed down by Triple H and or Stephanie. But Big Show definitely this whole time, for reasons that have been previously stated, is in full they're punishing him mode.
Mm-hmm. Even though they're still pushing him. Which is funny.
They're still pushing him, but he still ends up in the main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah. But he's still fat, Dave. He's fat.
Yeah. He's fat.
And Vince doesn't like fat people, Dave.
Yeah. Even though Rikishi's one of the most over guys in the fucking company at the moment. Anyway.
I have to bring this up, Dave. You skipped over the first WWF Super Bowl ad.
Yes, there was 3 this night, and I've definitely seen 2 of them before. They showed 2 of them. They definitely were showing 2 of them regularly over here.
Yeah, so the Attitude Babies, that's one that was well seen. That was the first one.
Yes, that's the one I've definitely seen the most.
That they showed that constantly on the show for months.
Next up, we had the first of a couple of very not memorable matches involving men from tag teams. Devon versus Christian. We are given the context that Terry was put through a table by the damn Dudleys, so JR's already in those damn Dudleys mode. Bubba Ray Dudley is in his I powerbomb women through tables and then ejaculate gimmick. So that's cool.
So that's the explosion.
Yes, for sure. That's the... That's what it is.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah. So, Lawler suggests in his first creepy line of the night, and not his last, would you believe, that Terry, who they're strongly implying is like bedridden, maybe paralyzed, Jerry Lawler suggests making a house call to Terry's house. You want to put something on a what could possibly make someone feel worse list. That is up near the top.
I am not touching that one.
No. Edge has swollen lips that look really fucking gnarly.
What?
It just like his face looks all fucked up. They said something happened to him in a match the previous week, and they're saying he actually nearly lost a bunch of teeth on a spot. I was like, oh dear. Christian wins, very meh.
He won with the falling DDT.
He did.
I just that's the only note I have from this match. Christian wins with the falling DDT.
They get the tables, the Dudleys do, but the Hardys run out. Matt DDTing Devon through a table. You don't see a DDT through a table very often.
No. Look good.
Yeah, it looked pretty good. And Jeff Swantons Bubba through another one. It's still the senton bomb at this point, though.
Yeah.
It's worth noting. And Bubba catches one in the mouth and starts bleeding. Ha.
If only it was permanent damage.
If only. Then backstage we have Edge and Christian, the Hardys, and Cactus hanging with the Radicals. Now, I will say I did giggle at this, is that the Mean Street Posse come into frame and try to big time the Radicals and just get the piss beaten out of them.
The Mean Street Posse.
That's what the Posse are for.
Yeah, the most consistent characters on the show.
I still have echoing in my head do you remember the last one we watched where Lawler was losing it for the gas mask?
Yeah, they have finisher names. Before I left Twitter, I did see somebody clipped it and was getting like a shit ton of hits off that, like where they were like the Mean Street Posse had finishers.
Yeah, they sure did. And what a set of finishers. I can't name the other two. With a gun to my head, I couldn't name them, but all classics.
What was the Joey? I can't remember the Joey Abbott's one. The gas mask is obviously the memorable one.
Yeah, because it's the only one that was probably seen more than once on television, to be honest.
That is true.
Okay, where are we next?
Match number 3.
Oh god, yes, the Big Show versus both of Too Cool. Big Show looks so sad and annoyed. And like a little bit of it is that he's supposed to be mad because that's the gimmick, that he's been screwed. But like he's definitely also very unhappy that just this is what he's doing right now.
But just think, in the year that he's in the WWF at this point, because it is basically coming up to just about a year.
Yeah, Valentine's Day.
How many times would he have left the NWO and rejoined if he had stayed in WCW for that year?
Honestly, like it's weird to say that like he had more than run his course towards the end of that run. Shouldn't have
3.5 years in WCW, and he felt like nothing towards the end.
Yeah. Just weird because like obviously he wasn't great in the ring, but
he's fucking 7'2".
Yeah, exactly. How do you not figure out things to do with that
the
guy?
man could do a drop kick.
Yeah. Ho hum. So they get on top of him for a bit, trying to fight. Like you could write out this match in your sleep. They get the heat for a while on Big Show. Scotty hits the worm, but eventually he just kills both of them.
Excuse me, you are skipping over the fact that Scotty eats your favorite move of all time. Oh no,
the alley-oop?
No, it's not the alley-oop. Sorry,
because I was going to say, believe me, I would not have missed an alley-oop.
Yeah, no, if there was an alley-oop, you would have had.
That's what I was stunned. As you saying, I was writing notes when an alley-oop happened. I'd be so appalled with myself.
The alley-oop is coming back, Dave.
Man, I'm telling you, WrestleMania, we did it last year, and no fucking coward in professional wrestling took us up on it. I know there's active wrestlers that listen to this show. I know there are. And some of them are tall, and some of them are strong. Some of them are very physically capable of doing an alley-oop, and not one of you fuckers has done it yet.
Yeah,
Do a fucking alley-oop at WrestleMania weekend. We will not stop tweeting about it. I promise you that.
Somebody has to do an alley-oop, and we have to get a gift, and we'll pin that to our fucking Twitter page.
And do you know what? Like I will put it. Do you know what? If a wrestler does it, at WrestleMania, at a WrestleMania weekend show, and they want to send me their schedule of upcoming dates, I will plug it on the show. That's how far I'll go to bring back the alley-oop, right? You know.
Hang on.
I'm not asking just for charity. I'll be sold out more than Jeff Jarrett was on Nitro this week. I can be bought.
You are going to read out the TNA schedule on air.
Yeah, I might. Just do a fucking alley-oop, mate. Like, it's fucking... I don't care who you are. There are male wrestlers, there are female wrestlers that listen to the show. I'm equal opportunities.
Just
you want to do an alley-oop on any show in any context.
Pop a crowd of 2. That's all it takes.
Yeah. And I will say, if we need to do a tiebreaker, most spectacular alley-oop wins. If you manage to do like an alley-oop through a table, or an alley-oop clean out of the ring, fucking, I'll tell you. Have them take the Taka Michinoku Royal Rumble bump on the floor from the alley-oop.
See, you're not looking for just a basic alley-oop. You want some innovation here.
No, I'll take an alley-oop, right? Any alley-oop will do. Any-oop, we'll say, right? Any-oop will do. What I will say is, if more than one wrestler does an alley-oop, the way I will determine the winner who gets put over and will earn friend of the show status for life is the one who does the alley-oop with the most oomph. The alley-oop, if you will. Gauntlet laid down, fucking cowards. How about that?
There we go. It's laid out there. And remember, if you see an alley-oop in the wild, you have to tell us.
This is where the listeners come in. This is where the Thunder Buddies come in. We rarely do a call to action on this podcast. We'll put over any alley-oop. We won't read out schedules of wrestlers like you're just doing an alley-oop like that don't know, that's just out of the blue. The WrestleMania weekend offer is the one where we read out your upcoming schedule or your socials or whatever the fuck, right? But if you're a listener and you watch a show in 2025 and someone does an alley-oop, it is your responsibility to let us know that an alley-oop has happened. Because I'm getting more dogged about this, that we need to bring back the alley-oop.
Yeah, like genuinely, when you see some of the awful moves that happen every week on national TV, the fact that nobody... Are you telling me that this would be the most niche WrestleMania weekend joke ever? No, it will not. No, not even close.
There is guaranteed to be, like, at minimum, a handful of listeners to this show who will be at some WrestleMania weekend shows. And you're solidifying a pop through the fucking roof from those guys for an alley-oop for a start.
Dave, I know. No, not even the wrestlers. I know we have friends of wrestlers that listen to this show.
Yeah.
That will tell them about this alley-oop quest.
I hope that unbeknownst to us, somebody that agents in indie is listening to this, and there'll be like one show that's just fucking head to toe alley-oops.
Be like lockdown alley-oop, an alley-oop in every match.
We just get like a Royal Rumble where you can only eliminate people via alley-oop.
Oh God, what have we created?
Yeah, or like a shoot style tournament with alley-oops in it.
Hey, listen.
The brawl for alley-oop. Come on, it's right there.
Dave, I have seen a shoot tournament won with a Spanish fly. I will believe anything.
Oh, the shoot Spanish fly. Oh, fuck. That was one of the closest I've ever come to just go, do you know what? Maybe wrestling's not for me anymore. A shoot-style match ending with a fucking standing Spanish fly.
Walking out in disgust.
Yeah. You know the amount of fucking pancrase you watch where someone does some shit out of the Matrix? Yeah, definitely. Like... Joey.
This is just my
how many times I've watched Rings and seen someone hit a fucking 630.
Oh, fuck me. Oh, let's get back to this Raw.
See, the thing is, I got like it's going to be too close to WrestleMania season by the time I get back, so I have to cut the promo now to like make the hard sell on people. Yeah.
I tell you're optimistic if you think you're getting back for WrestleMania season.
I can't remember when WrestleMania is this year. I just because I don't care. But I will suddenly care if people are doing alley-oops.
Everything is a week later in my head this year because the fucking Rumble didn't happen till February, so...
Yeah. Here's another thing, right? Okay, so if you are a wrestler, friend of a wrestler, agent, anybody peripherally associated with the world of wrestling, and I'm gone, and Lee is just tanking the show into the ground, and you miss me, the magical way to summon me back to the show immediately to talk about something would be to start hitting fucking alley-oops on a televised or recorded wrestling show. If the alley-oops start happening, like the fucking bat signal over Gotham, I will return.
Listen, you will get a message from somebody saying an alley-oop has happened. And
that's what I want. I want alley-oop klaxons going off in the mentions at WCW Thunderpod.
I will get a message from you that day saying we need to record.
Yeah, emergency. Breaking news audio.
Oh, God.
Joe Rich, we need the YouTube channel right now.
Forget your flagship Patreon breaking news. Fucking WCW Thunderpod breaking news. An alley-oop has been spotted in the wild.
I haven't campaigned this hard for moves I actually like to be brought back. Like, we didn't go this hard on the rolling Russian leg sweeps that Raven does. We haven't gone this hard on the diamond cutter. Like... Just bring back the alley-oop, lads.
Somebody out there has to hear this.
Just takes one person, one show that's recorded, and you're going to start a movement. Imagine that's your legacy, my legacy, our legacy together. Is the return of the alley-oop. You can rename it if you want. It's fine. I'll know.
No, they can't.
It's an alley-oop.
They can't. It has to be an alley-oop.
I know it's an alley-oop. It's fine. Once it's an alley-oop in my heart.
No, it has to be an alley-oop. You can't rename it.
Are you saying they have to, like, set up for the move and then shout alley-oop so that people know? Because, like, I'm not going to add that to my list of demands, but, like, if you want it as a little icing on top of the cake, just shout alley-oop. Like, you know, like Undertaker does the old school, like... Just have them separate. Alley-oop.
What I want is 6 weeks from now to be watching Botchamania with my son and a befuddled Matthew going, was that an alley-oop I just saw in a match?
Just Matthew, who as far as I know doesn't listen to this show, just watching multiple Rainier Weekend shows going, what is with the fucking alley-oops? And it's just a one Botchamania that's just a sizzle reel of alley-oops. Like.
Oh, God.
I wanted to get so bad that there's a new feature like you alley-oop too much on Botchamania.
The alley-oop needs to be the 2025 Canadian Destroyer of indie wrestling.
Yeah, I want so many alley-oops that I'm just fucking over it by next year.
Oh,
the alley-oop will be the new Meteora. Like, it's just... Right, should we talk more about Raw?
I mean, there's a Kurt Angle Rock match up next, so I suppose we should.
But we also talk about Rock backstage being the second person on TV to slag off Big Show's haircut on this show. Like, not even involved in a feud with him at the moment, because, like, Big Show's still in a feud with The Rock, but The Rock's not in a feud with the Big Show right now. Like, I will say that this angle does get paid off 20 years after this.
Does it?
Because if you remember, it's the only funny thing The Rock did in his return angle was that one of the times he came back, he was backstage and he's glad handing with people and he walks up to Big Show and he's just like, hey man, it's great to see you. God, do you remember you and me, Royal Rumble 2000, we both went over? And he's like, yeah. And he goes, you know, to be honest with you, my feet touched the floor first. And he walks off and Big Show is fucking seething.
I totally forgot that. Yeah.
I was like, that's obviously that's not an intentional payoff. It's not like in 2000 they're going, we're going to pay this off in 20 years. But it did make me laugh at the time when that happened.
You can just see that happening 10 years from now with Penta and Rey Mysterio backstage.
Yes.
And Penta goes, you know, I got deep pushed and put on main event 2 weeks after my debut. And it's all because my feet did in fact touch.
Yes. Rock versus Kurt Angle happens next. Brawl outside. Kurt gets on the mic to give out at being booed. He said, I was born here. I was born at Mercy Hospital. Rock shouts, it doesn't matter where you were born, and starts putting a whooping on him again. We get like the little bit of heat from Kurt. Doesn't last. He tries to bail. Taz arrives to throw him back, because obviously we're only like a week or so shy of him getting choked out in the garden. Spinebuster, people's elbow, and a win. Taz gets in the ring for more. Accidentally clotheslines The Rock when he goes for Kurt, and then he keeps chasing Kurt. Then we have a line that made me really laugh. Backstage, the posse run into the acolytes who are like playing cards, and they say, hey, 15 guys just beat us up. Which is great. They empty their pockets for protection, and they tell them to sit down in the corner quietly while they finish their card game. We will return to this because this is a very pivotal moment for mid-card in WWF at this time. Radicals then meet the mid-carders. Val Venus, woeful man, but rocking the turtleneck and chain, which you gotta respect.
I'm disappointed that Val was not wearing a towel and did not ask him to speak up.
I hate to say that certain people had a point, even if they were mean about it. But how small do the Radicals look compared to even the mid-carders of the WWF? Like, Val Venus is the size of two of the cunts. Like, it's like, was it like Val Venus, the Godfather, and a couple of others of
I
that
think
ilk,
Test
and it's
was
like they're
there,
fucking towering. Oh, could you not have picked some of the shorter mid-carders? Could you not have had Crash Holly in there?
Yeah, but listen, we know what happens with Eddie and Benoit and how they conform to the wants of what Vince McMahon would like his people to look like.
Yes, sadly. Moving swiftly on, we have a non-title match: Chris Jericho versus X-Pac, a rematch of an infamously bad early Jericho WWF run match that sullied his reputation for some time. We seem to be at a, like, since the last time we visited Jericho, he now is the sole champion.
Yes, no longer intercontinental champion.
And him and China are getting along for the most part.
Yes, wasn't this
on screen? I will say on screen.
Yeah, wasn't this weird period where Triple H had broken up with China and him and Stephanie were keeping their relationship secret? I think this was around this point.
They would dispute that.
And
I think their timeline has them not getting together for another year or two. Conveniently until after she's out of the company.
That ain't fucking true. But and the fact that like Triple H,
you just need to watch one segment with them and the amount of fucking eye humping going on. They are not that good at acting.
And like, wasn't Triple H trying to pawn China off to Jericho in more than just an on-screen way?
Allegedly.
Yes, allegedly.
But they did not get on, and it's kind of like them not getting on is fairly underscored by the fact that China has a separate entrance as the valet / manager.
Yes.
Like, she gets the full theme song and entrance. Now, it's also because, in the eyes of WWF, she's the biggest star of the people involved in this match. Jericho cuts a promo saying this is going to be the first time. The pairing with Tori is the first time X-Pac got to kiss a girl. I wrote, I don't know what exactly what he said in this match, but I wrote a tremendous sex pervert performance from Jerry Lawler here. Why is he not in prison?
Jerry Lawler said the word sex multiple times, and I was just like, no.
Funnily enough, that's a noise he made also at the desk.
No, that was the Snow Bunny match later.
Yeah. Good lord. So Tori is now together with X-Pac. The whole Tori is Kane's girlfriend thing has
Hang on, Dave. Do you know what this is? I have a theory for why this is.
Okay.
Bitches be crazy.
Well, that is almost certainly all that was written on the scripts at this stage.
Yes.
For a lot of female characters, unfortunately, in the company. Tori hits Jericho with a belt while Chyna was talking to the ref. Pac hits the X Factor for the win. We remain undecided as to whether the PAC in Pac stands for points at crotch. Not resolved on this show, but we will update you. Then we get the Acolytes with the Dudleys. They are going to give him a chance to get back at the Twinks, essentially. Then we have...
Hang on. You skip over the very important part of this backstage moment.
This is the one.
Yes.
They officially are now branded the APA.
Yeah.
The Acolyte Protection Agency.
Bradshaw has the idea. He says, Big P, 2 little A's, Acolyte Protection Agency.
If he had hit us with an always pounding ass in that segment, I would have lost it.
But yes, this is the official birth of the APA. They're no longer the Acolytes, they're the APA.
Yes. Which would result in the most sustained period of these two being over. Like, they would just... these guys are getting huge receptions. Like, still to this day, Ron Simmons makes a cameo.
Oh, if that music
lose
hits...
it for Ron Simmons.
Yeah, if that music were to hit on fucking Raw or SmackDown or something, they'd still get a pop.
And for most people, it's the most they loved Bradshaw ever. I have always had a soft spot for George Bush, the wrestler, when he starts doing the JBL character. I have always had quite a soft spot for it, but I do accept that the ratings do not tell that same story.
No.
On SmackDown. Just ask Paul Heyman about what he thought of that JBL title reign. Now we come to the nadir of maybe my life. The Lumberjill Snow Bunny match. The Cat versus Hervina.
Is this because is this because you are such a huge fan of the Cat?
There is such a nexus of horrible things going on in this match. They mentioned that Mae Young is here and she's with child.
Yes. No, she is not there with child.
Oh, she's not there, but she is with child, yes. Because Moolah is there. Noted criminal Moolah is there. We have a bunch of women who clearly would rather be anywhere else on Earth than involved in this segment and are trying desperately to not be that visible on camera. And then we have the Cat, who was awful and whose entire character motivation, according to writers, were nudity? ? And I'm kind of surprised. I am kind of surprised that after we never covered the show, but after everybody knows the Armageddon incident, where she legitimately flashes for however long on the show, sent sponsors and stuff into an uproar. I do to this day remain legitimately surprised they didn't just keep doing it, because this is a very WWF at the time move. Would have been, we're just going to keep doing it on pay-per-view.
I mean,
I don't think they'd ever do it on TV or anything like that. Although I guess they did that girl in the crowd flash. They showed the girl flashing DX in the crowd that time, so maybe they fucking...
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I know they had the accidental nudity with Lita, with the one-time Edge popped his rating.
Oh, the fucking live sex celebration. Yeah. Another fucking nadir in the history of professional wrestling. Another one of those, I'm ashamed to be associated with this, and God forbid anybody walks into the room while I'm watching it moments.
Well, Dave, you can never forget it because Edge is a star because of it. But, we know that they had Jackie, do the nudity in England in 98.
Yeah.
Because they felt like they could get away with it because England is a lot more liberal than the United States.
Why does it look like you're reading off a handwritten list you have there?
Oh, it's all up here, man. It's all up here.
He's pointing at a hard drive.
They had Sable do the...
Actually, no, given the era, he's pointing at a case full of floppy disks.
They had Sable do the fucking handprint bikini. That was on Raw, I think. I think that was Raw. Or was that a pay-per-view?
I want to say it was Raw because it was in the... Was it Build to Mania 14?
I can't remember. But they had that. They had, obviously, the Cats do Armageddon 99. They had Mae Young do the Rumble.
Yeah.
In 2000.
We had like various near misses with Tori during the like sleazy SmackDown. It's clear to see Paul Heyman's writing this show period of time.
Oh, the Tori and Sable and Dawn Marie.
Tori and Sable, then Tabiel and Dawn Marie.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like
HLA.
When you oh god, HLA, yeah.
If you don't know what that is, just don't bother, guys. Just don't.
Ask Eric Bischoff; he'll tell you all about it.
HLA was the one where I was just like, of all of them, I was like, I thought we were past this.
Like, I'm not saying that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. No, because this was like maybe it was
2003.
2002.
It was 2003,
and I thought mostly this was starting to peter out, and then no.
But like, yeah,
his live sex celebration was what 2006. So
when did he win the title? It was 2005, wasn't it?
It was New Year's Revolution 2005, so into 2006. I'm pretty sure.
Would New Year's Revolution not have been in 2005 after the New Year?
Hold on, do you know what? You keep talking, and I'll look up this run because it bridges 1 year, and I just can't remember. Is it 2004 into 5 or 2005 into 6?
Well, the first Money in the Bank was WrestleMania 21, so that was 2005. So you are correct; it was in 2006. Yeah.
Oh, flawless victory.
But yeah, no, like I do agree with you when you think about like this era of WWF, and we see like they're all about upsetting the establishment with their adverts, and you know everything they do was all about shocking people and being that kind of Jerry Springer style entertainment. It is amazing that they didn't have kind of semi-monthly nudity on the show.
Yeah. It just feels like because they were pushed and like because I guess this is like the big write-off angle eventually comes like when the right to censor are here. Like I remember at the time and even since when you watch the build to that like in that feud, it's like, oh, they are going back to that well because it was like I can't remember whether she said she was going to like strip completely naked or something like that was like the thing like the right to nudity thing she was doing with the right to censor. Whereas like, oh, they are going back to the well with that. It always kind of surprises me that we had that one thing and yeah, like you said, they misread like you want to talk about like how they have always been the number one is beyond me because they misread their own trends a lot. And like when you listen to the way they talk about their own history, yeah, it's not like they play down Stone Cold and The Rock's importance, but I think they definitely overplay the influence of the scandalous stuff.
Absolutely.
I think like if Stone Cold got hot like he did and you didn't have any of that scandalous stuff on there, I think those ratings don't move a jot. Like
he still would have been hot. He still would have been Stone Cold, and he still would have had like a generational all-time talent like The Rock supporting him.
Yeah.
I just did think of another one that goes all the way up to 2007 or 2008. Nudist Kelly.
Oh yeah. Where were they? Extreme Expose?
Extreme, yeah. I actually forgot that. Yeah, the trio.
I used to love Brian Alvarez, like talking when he was reviewing early ECW shows, and how much like he hated, but also kind of loved because how dumb it was the gimmick of a stripper that couldn't take her clothes off.
It's a good bit.
Yeah, it's a good. Do you know what? Like, it actually is like if it had been like written by someone clever, that it was like a commentary on how many of these angles they'd done, it would have been probably really good. But it wasn't. Anyway, let's move on from this. I don't know which is the weirder tangent we've done, the alley oops or the Lee's long proud history of World Wrestling.
Hang on. I did not say proud.
Your face said proud. Your face is that Jack Nicholson nodding meme.
Oh, fucking hell. I'm glad this is not a video podcast.
Hervina is billed as... Yes, because we're still on this match. is billed as being from Intercourse, Pennsylvania. Get it? It's awful. Thankfully, it doesn't last very long. Jackie cold cocks Kat and knocks her out, and Hervina pins her. Michael Cole.
Hang on, I need to make the very obvious joke here of it's awful. It doesn't last very long, and you get a slap at the end of it.
Yeah. That's just. I think that's just like the booking mantra for the women at this stage. I love and hate that Michael Cole is the only one smart enough in the building, but also because of the writing of TV is clearly much smarter than all the women, that he didn't even have to be standing that close, because by the time he's walked up to Hervina at the end, he's like, "You're not a woman, you're Harvey Whippleman." Like, he sees through it immediately, and the referee and none of the women do.
Yep.
Yeah. And I remember, like, I missed Raw this week, but I remember watching the recap on SmackDown going, they did fucking what? Yeah. Jesus. Michael Cole gets shoved over, and then all the women attack him. Cactus then introduced the Radicals to Triple H. This is the one that really fucking annoyed me in terms of, like, breaking the mystique of Cactus Jack. Is these two men attempted to beat each other to death less than 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Right? They had and we've talked about it so many times, one of the greatest WWF title matches of this entire era just happened. Those two men left physically altered from it. And he just walks into Triple H's office and they start having a conversation. These men should not be able to be within 50 feet of each other without wanting to tear each other apart. Especially because they are going towards the Hell in a Cell match. It'd be one thing if that was the blow-off.
Yeah, when we see Triple H in the ring to close the show, he is still bandaged from the top of his boot all the way up to the top of his knee pad because of the fucking damage he took in that street fight.
Yeah.
Like, it was
sucks.
The gnarly suplex onto the screw, like, onto the nail.
Yeah. This fucking absolutely sucked. I fucking hated this because of that. I was just like, this is like, it's so I'm glad I missed this episode because I was so into this feud. It really, even at that age, would have really deflated me. Where I'm just like, Cactus should have done the fucking, like, just tackled him over a couch and just like, just the classic.
Cactus being the advocate for the Radicals is just, I was
finding it hard to stomach that already, but then having a conversation to ask Triple H to give them work. No. Triple H said you need to come, and then, like, Triple H gets, like, haughty-taughty and snooty and dismissive of them, and Cactus still doesn't attack him. And then Cactus lets Steph slag off the Radicals.
Yes, Stephanie, we know what type of people you are. You don't listen to management in your previous jobs.
Yeah.
It's like, what? What are we doing here?
But, like, what purpose did Cactus Jack serve in this? Like, there's no reason for him to be in there. They could have just pounded on the door and demanded a job.
Yes. It could have been, Benoit leading it, or it could have been another person. Like,
especially because we know this is a one-night alliance. There was nothing served by any subsequent segment after the initial, hey, thanks for accepting my invite to come here. Cactus did not need to be seen with them again for the rest of the night until they turned on him.
Do you know what would have been an idea, Dave?
What?
If, I don't know, maybe this is a fair idea. If these guys that you don't trust to promo because you think they don't have personalities, I don't know, maybe you could have given them a manager.
Yeah.
That wasn't your
Wild
lead
idea.
babyface at the time.
Yeah. Ho-hum. Anyway, next up, Viscera versus the Hollies. Terrible.
Oh my god, this is the worst match on... Hang on, we have to mention, this is the second handicap match on the show.
Yeah. Featuring big guy versus a tag team.
And it's fucking awful. I have a lot of good memories of the Hollies. I like the Hollies in theory.
Yeah. Yeah.
I watched this match and wanted to fucking kill the Hollies.
Yeah. And, like, Viscera, genuinely one of the worst Major League professional wrestlers of all time. This was terrible. I did not take notes except to say that one Holly pinned Viscera's, was it Bob, held down Viscera's feet while Crash pinned him.
Yeah.
And that was it.
I can read you my notes for this match. This fucking sucks. Jesus fucking Christ. That was horrendous.
Yeah. Yeah, and the match lasts... the one thing you could say in benefit is the match lasted about as long as it took you to type that.
Yes.
So, if this had gone any more than like 3 minutes, I would have stopped watching this show.
And then, to follow up this Mac Classic, Dave, we get the rejected Super Bowl ads. The ad that was too WWF Attitude for ABC.
Yes, so we had the... it's clearly they just went, what's the opposite of the ad we just did?
Yes.
It's the WWF Attitude in the old folks' home.
A.K.A. WCW in March 1999.
Hey! This is their Age in the Cage.
Yes.
No,
do you remember Ric Flair was president and he was in the
oh, yes, Age in the Cage was actually earlier than that, yes.
Yeah, Age in the Cage was 97.
So then we get maybe, like, the only thing on the show I could stand to have watched this for a little longer, and that's the JR sit-down interview with Steve Austin. And here's the thing. The JR sit-down interviews are some of the greatest character development pieces that they ever did.
Yes.
And they didn't do them nearly enough. Like, some of the Austin ones they did a couple of times. The Triple H one.
Yeah.
The Foley ones.
Dustin Rhodes, I think, had
Dustin Rhodes.
A couple. Kane had a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you have this guy that has, like, whether people like it or not, he has a gravitas with the audience. Yeah. And here he is sitting down, semi out of character with these people. Yeah. Like outside of a wrestling setting, shall we say.
Yeah.
And every time it delivers something that the audience can connect to with these people.
You want to think about, like, the many things over the last 2 years that AEW have ripped off WWE that are terrible. Here is one that they are not doing anymore. And I don't think, with the way their fans are now, that WWF or WWE could do this now in a way that would interest their fans. This is right here. Right here for them to do. And Renee Paquette is right there. Some of those YouTube interviews she does with people are fucking brilliant.
Yeah. There was one I saw recently, only a couple of weeks ago, with Chris Statlander. It's the best thing Stat has done in fucking months.
Yeah. Well, the one, they did a great one with her when she came back from the injury the last time. When she came back and beat Jade.
Yes.
There was they did a featurette that featured some, like, interview clips, and I was just like, it was 15 minutes nearly, and I was like, they need to play this whole fucking thing on Dynamite. Like, we have gotta, even in 2025, we've gotta let go of if it's just on Twitter or YouTube, all the fans of the show will see it. They fucking won't. Nope. Like, the people who will see it are the people who will watch your show anyway, whether you do it or not. They're the people that are logged in and will go looking for it, right? These important pieces... I'm not saying you need to put all the, like... Hey, EW is perfect for YouTube only.
Yes.
Right? It's a perfect bit of character development that is not essential and not canon. But all these great interviews with people... Like, I know Renee's done ones with, like... Kingston before, like, you name it, like, pretty much any of the, like, more long form sit down interviews. And I'm not saying you need to show the whole thing every time on Dynamite, like I would, but you could do an edited version. Do you know what I mean? With, like, the key points, because, like, this humanizing moment, because the thing about the Steve Austin character is that he's the everyman, you know? And you have him, like, he's pissed, he's upset. They don't mention the fucking stupid whodunit who ran over Stone Cold. It was just focusing on this guy only has wrestling in his life, and he can't do that now. And he can't even fucking move his head. and he can only have the brace off for so long before he has to put it back on again. And like in such, again, the everyman way, Steve is saying, you know what pisses me off the most is it makes it hard to drink beer.
Mm-hmm.
And just the kind of like that whole WWF Desire idea of him just going, he promises he will be back and he will be better. He's not better.
No.
Like he's like, it fundamentally sets the clock on his career.
I will say there is that period in like, well, maybe March through. No, I'd probably say February through June, up until the turn in the Invasion pay-per-view.
Hey, well, let's not forget, he turns twice or three times between WrestleMania and...
You know what turn I'm talking about in June.
Yeah.
Basically, from the No Way 8 pay-per-view through to the Invasion pay-per-view, Austin's having a fucking pretty great run.
Yeah. Look, there's still plenty of great moments to come, but in terms of like his body, the clock is now firmly ticking.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is the one that really, really sets the clock. But it's great. Like he says, and I feel so bad for him, knowing how long it is before he arrives, that he says, give me 3 or 4 months. Like this guy really in his head thinks Mania is not out of the question. Now he would technically be right.
I was just going to say Backlash.
4 months after this, he is there at Backlash. Like he can't wrestle.
He can't move his fucking head.
He's like Batman in the cowl. But genuinely, it's up there with the biggest glass shatter pops when he does show up on that show. Like it's one of those, like I imagine the building was fucking shaking with the pop when he came out.
Like legitimately, if you've not watched this in a long time, go watch that Austin run in at Backlash. His neck does not move.
No. It's like one of those badly animated PS2 games where they can't articulate all the limbs of a character. They can only pick, right, we can either animate the arms or the legs, definitely not both.
You know, like when you change the character you're looking at and just the whole body moves.
Yeah. When you used to like change player on an old FIFA game and immediately like the player that you changed away from just stopped moving.
Yes.
Yeah. Lillian is in WWF New York saying that there will be an announcement later this week involving the WWF and football. I wonder what that might be. So this is like a really surprisingly significant Raw. You gotta, if you've never seen the ESPN 30 for 30 on the XFL,
you gotta watch it.
It's so fucking fabulous. I need them to do an updated version that was like, can you believe we did this? And as soon as we did this, Vince went, you know what? I'm going to do it again. And then after he did it again and it failed again, The Rock was like, do you know what? I'm going to do it again.
And guess what, Dave? It failed again.
Can you believe there are people that are alive with eyes and ears that don't think wrestlers are the dumbest fucking people to have ever walked the earth? Not all of them. But, like, this particular instance, holy fuck. Anyway, I feel like someone's going to pay us to do an XFL episode at some stage. I just feel it in my bones. Most wrestling podcasts I've listened to, somebody has bullied them into doing an XFL episode at some point. I'm not going to draw as hard a line on that as I will Heroes of Wrestling. I will never cover Heroes of Wrestling.
No, Heroes of Wrestling is the one, like, we've said this before. Pornography and Heroes of Wrestling. Snuff movies and Heroes of Wrestling are the three no limit.
At some points, if you've never seen it, Heroes of Wrestling nearly is a snuff movie.
They're the three things we will not ever take money for.
Yes. Yeah, sure, Lee watches the porn for free, as he alluded earlier on. I need to pay him for that.
Hey, listen, you're leaving this show in my hands for 6 weeks. I can't guarantee anything.
Yeah, that's all that's going to be in your hands for 6 weeks. Ew. Anyway, speaking of dicks, Bubba Ray Dudley wrestles next against Matt Hardy. It's mad to see Matt Hardy when his legs worked. Fucking useless match. Like I did, all I wrote was useless match, ends in a DQ, then a schmoz with the APA. I will say post match had one cool spot.
Can I
don't
just
get very
say?
often.
Can I just
Okay.
say? Okay, you've mentioned Dix, Protection, and Matt Hardy in this match.
Yeah.
That's one thing Matt Hardy does not know anything about.
He does not. No.
That man has many kids.
He certainly does. God bless him. So, Bubba stands up on the steps. On the steel steps. You got the steel steps in the ring. And powers bomb Jeff through Matt and 2 tables. And then ejaculates.
Hang on, did you just say powers bomb?
Yes, it's like attorneys general. Or courts martial. It's a power bomb with more than one person involved.
So powers
bomb.
Powers bomb. Sounds like something I would have drank.
That's what they should have named fucking Russo when he came over. The powers that bomb. It would have been a more
and did that bomb
description. Yes. Triple H gets the Radicals escorted from the building. Cactus says he's made a big mistake. Apparently, they're really plugging that SmackDown did its best ever rating opposite the State of the Union, which of course gave Vince McMahon the opportunity to shout at JR through the headset to bury Bill Clinton. Because this would have been Bill Clinton's final State of the Union. So a chance to get the brogue in there, because the famously non-controversial Bush-Gore election is later this year.
Yeah, I was just thinking,
So
2000, it was still Clinton, yeah.
Yes, we are mere months away from hanging Chads.
Oh, God. Fucking Florida.
Anyway.
We should have known in 2000 that Florida would ruin the world.
Yeah. Should have let them secede 25 years ago. We could have stopped all this. Do you like you cut an arm off to stop the infection spreading?
I mean, I felt that way about Cork for many years.
Oh, Garrett's going to come for you now, buddy. You could have said Limerick and no one would have batted an eyelid.
But Limerick is inland. You can't cut that off.
You couldn't say Waterford. You'd have Jamesy and Sarah coming for you.
Nah, I look Waterford.
Limerick, you would have had Barry coming for you, but like you'd hear him coming before he got to you, so you could run away. What?
Oh God! But anyway,
someone's clipping that and send it to him. What a pass! Our main event, world title, Triple H versus Kane. Kane nowhere to be found. Triple H, of course, because it's his bit, runs down Kane on the microphone, starts a countdown. But as he goes to get him, Cactus Jack comes out, says he invited guests and Triple H had the gall to throw them out. That's definitely the thing he should be most angry at Triple H for. Mm-hmm. Not the, we tried to murder each other. Not the, you legit fired me and the whole roster had to threaten to walk out to bring me back less than a month ago.
Yep.
Anyway, runs in, they brawl. Triple H swings the belt at him, misses. Cactus misses one of his own. Triple H bails. The Radicals jump in and throw him back in. Triple H bumps around and gets whipped into a belt shot. And that is our kind of end of the show.
Was it just me, or was this like an incredibly flat ending?
Yeah, because I was kind of starting to talk about earlier but stopped myself short, is like, I thought the kind of the debut, the alliance, and the turn all happens in one night, which is very WWF. I do think it's like either the next week or the week after.
It's next Raw. It's
yeah, I was almost certain, because the 10-man is like 2 weeks away, is it?
No,
or the 12-man. Is it next week?
Next week. So what happens is,
okay, so it must fucking open the show, does it?
They run the series of matches on SmackDown. Eddie fucks up his elbow.
Yes.
And all the plans change. So they have the Radicals turn and join the Alliance to destroy Cactus Mania on Raw. And then it's Cactus and Too Cool, who, by the way, Dave, Too Cool just got squashed in the handicap match. I don't know if you know that.
They sure did. By a character they're actively burying.
Yes. So it's Too Cool, Cactus, Rikishi, and who else is in the 12-man?
Hold on.
God, what can't I think?
Great audio.
Cactus. Is it Jericho? It's not fucking head cheese.
It's not head cheese.
All you homeowners have unique needs. Some feel the need to paint their door a vibrant shade of blue. Others have the need to decorate their bathroom with fish, anchors, and other nautical items. And because each homeowner has unique needs, Geico helps you get the right coverage for your home and what's in it. That way, you get exactly what's right for you, even if your needs are unique. Get more with Geico.
Oh my God, why? It's 10. 10 man.
Oh, it's 10 man. Okay.
Yeah. It's the Three Radicals, Cactus, and The Rock.
Oh, okay. So the tour must have been 2 weeks then.
Or sorry, it's Too Cool, Rikishi, Cactus, and The Rock. Should I say?
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, because it's the Radicals. Cause, sorry, I'm just looking at it now.
Yeah, because it's all of the Radicals and Triple H. Well, sorry, it's the Three Radicals, Triple H, and X-Pac, isn't it?
I think it's Pac. Sorry, I'm just trying to fast forward here. Again, great radio.
Why didn't you look it up on Cage Match?
Because I was trying to just Google it, and YouTube was like, yeah, Pac, yeah.
Yeah, so
I can see him in the ring now.
Because if I remember correctly, wasn't there a thing about Road Dogg and Billy Gunn being pissed off that the Radicals got picked ahead of them?
Well, as they've been getting buried since the last time we checked in on WWF by Triple H. They shouldn't be surprised. And yes, it is the next week. It's February 7th.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Dave, as you were aware, the Road Dogg does not understand how doors work. So I mean, he should be buried.
He sees a door, he breaks through it, but thankfully he didn't break through any glass ceilings.
Hey,
right, we'll move on.
He's now your head booker on SmackDown, so let that sink in.
We'll move on, shall we?
We shall.
Nitro 228, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. 31st of January 2000. 2.79. Less than half. Remember, it was 6.6 for Raw. Do you want to know what the dark match was on this show?
Always.
Well, it was Lenny and Lodi versus Los Vianos. They were billed as Idol and Lane. Rarest sight.
Why were they Idol and Lane?
Well, they as you saw on this show, they threw off the standards and practices gimmick, at least for a night.
Why Idol?
Lee, I don't fucking know.
I get that it's slowly backwards. I understand that part.
Do you know why? Yeah. He's it's a relic prequel gimmick he's doing.
Did you know that Lodi backwards is Idol?
Never seen a relic and Lodi in the same room before.
Did you know that Lane backwards is Enel?
I'm not touching that with a barge pole. We start Nitro with the rarest sight in nature, a Thunder flashback package. Which, again, we talk about how doing a Nitro on Thunder, doing the Nitro flashback package of Sid winning is completely superfluous because you then started the show by stripping him and then redoing the gimmick where he beats the I guess they probably felt the need to replay what happened on Thunder, because if you just watched Nitro last week, you assumed the show ended with Sid as champion, and now he's still champion this week. They needed to let you know that, no, sorry, we're fucking stupid. And we stripped him and then put the title back on him on one show that happened in between these two Nitros.
I do enjoy that Kevin Nash has been beaten on 2 shows back to back and then just refused to show up to Nitro.
Yeah. Again, a good bit, I guess. NWO are backstage on the phone. This is another night of the running NWO gimmick that they must think is... They're doing a bit that they think is funny. Last week was the casino. This week is the acting commish bit. They're wondering where Nash is. Jarrett says, no problem, I'll be acting commissioner tonight, because they're on the phone to Nash. And kind of Edge and Christian's grandma style, as soon as Scott Hall takes the phone, Nash conveniently had hung up. Mm-hmm. And then we cut to them walking out. Then we have a moment that you realised the unfortunate historical nature of this show, because there is a debut. Do you want to announce proudly to everybody one of your favourite guys right here, opening segment?
Is there?
TV's best-looking big man, Mark Madden.
Yeah, sorry.
Makes his
I
commentary debut.
was looking at my notes going, what am I missing from the opening segment? Yeah, no, this fucking arsehole is on commentary.
Now, I know this period of time better than you do, Lee.
Yeah.
And on the Mark Madden scale, this was fucking Gordon Soley. Like, this was the most restrained I ever remember hearing this man.
Yeah,
which is more... like it's an example of where he's going rather than him being good.
I have more Mark Madden from TNA experience than I have Mark Madden from WCW experience.
Or Mark Madden on Twitter.
Well, you don't talk about that. Also, Dave, another reason to hate Mark Madden.
I know what you're going to say, because I was about to say my gag about Mark Madden was Mark Madden is such an odious human being. The fact that a Liverpool crest was his avatar on Twitter for many years is the least objectionable thing about it.
I was just going to say he's a Liverpool fan, so this is another reason I hate the bastard.
Yeah.
But hey, anyway. So we have Mark Madden who says he paid off Commissioner Jarrett to get Heenan's spot on the Nitro team.
Yeah.
So
can I say...
I was just going to say, is this the end of Heenan? Is Heenan no more on Nitro?
I don't think this is it. Because if I remember right, the in-studio Nitro before the reset, Heenan's on the panel.
Okay.
So it's not his last appearance, but it isn't... There's not long left of him as a regular.
I do know who's going to reach out to us and tell us is Webcom.
Yes. Yeah.
And no,
we eagerly await that record.
We will
correcting.
not be doing a Nights and Nitro for the last Bobby Heenan show.
Because do you know what? Well, I was going to say, the reason we let these things we don't know fully slide is because you just heard moments ago what it's like when we try to Google things in real time.
Yeah.
It's like I've got a lot of windows open and it takes time. And I forget to timestamp where I've done that because I'm too busy Googling. So you hear it all.
There is so much pornography open on Dave's laptop at this moment.
Yeah, because Lee's sharing his screen. Anyway, can I just compliment Jeff Jarrett, the incredible high fashion look of Slapnuts t-shirt and blazer. Incredible.
I mean, that's what he wore to the office in Nashville every day.
Yeah, that's the man that says, I'm the commish, but I love to party. He tells the live crowd now, because obviously they mustn't have shown this backstage segment. They felt the need to tell the live crowd over again that he's the commissioner. Mm-hmm. I would argue redundant. Why didn't you just not do that? Go straight to the ring. You know, then you wouldn't be short for time once in your life on these shows. Scott says everybody here in Wilkes-Barre is ugly, so he brought his own freaks. He then instructs them to take their clothes off, which they oblige, including Major Guns, the soon-to-be named Major Guns.
I was just going to say, you can call her Tylee, and she's not Major Guns yet.
Yeah, she's not. She's not. Well, she's actually has no name at this point. She's just NWO Babe number 4.
That is true.
At this point, they officially welcome the Harris brothers, Heavy D and Big Ron, which is the most like, man, I'm embarrassed at how they're trying to sound cool name. Anyway, Jeff then congratulates Sid. He said, I guess somewhere down the line you learned how to grab a hold. Says he gets to decide Sid's next opponent because he's the commissioner now, when and where. He says the when and the where is Super Brawl, and he will be the opponent. For those of you who love when Jeff Jarrett has an outsized push relative to his ability, buckle up.
We are the podcast for you for the next fucking 2 years.
Forever. For the entire run of the main series of this podcast.
Hang on, when's that Raw? Is it March? Like Paddy's Day of 2001 when Jarrett gets fired on the air?
Oh, yes. Yeah, it could be. It's the week before. It's the week before Mania, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's the very end of March, because I think isn't X7 like either the 1st or 2nd of April that year?
Oh, it is. Yeah. So it's the last week of March. But yeah, so
I always forget that when I go back. Like the simulcast is the go home show.
it's the go home show. Yeah.
It's fucking insane. Just wait a week.
Yeah, but see, Turner wouldn't give them another week on air, so they had to do it then.
This is true. This is true. Yeah.
And God forbid the Vince spent some money on wrestling.
Yeah. Fair. Right. Okay. So he said later on there's going to be a 6-man tag. Him and the Harris brothers versus Sid and 2 partners, and he's going to pick the partners. But he accidentally said opponents instead of partners.
I did like
I got what you were saying, Jeff.
Jarrett's closing line of saying he's open to bribes. That did pop me.
That's his message for all the boys in the graph. Then in the back, we then get graphics for the show.
Yes.
We are told Ric Flair is officially back in WCW and will be here at any moment. I wrote, Mark Madden looks like what if a turd was smug about it. That's when he reveals that he bribed Jarrett to get the gig. You want to talk about something that, like, WCW is inadvertently looking low rent constantly during this period of time, because you end up with a muddy field outside the stadium where Ric Flair pulls up and gets out of his limo into like marshy ground, and you can tell like as soon as he steps out he's deeply unhappy about it and then moves on. The real Harlem Heat walk in with Jay Biggs. They are now associated with each other. My favorite thing about this little clip, Big T casually drinking a gallon of milk as he walks in to go to work that night. I'm sure nothing makes you feel really good when you wrestle quite like drinking an entire gallon of milk.
Well, Dave, as we would see on this episode, Big T does in fact not wrestle.
Yes. I'd like to think that somebody took one look at how empty that carton was and went, no. You, sir, are not shitting yourself on my watch. Then we get Funk asking Arn where Flair is quite urgently. Arn's kind of dismissive. He's like, he's back here somewhere. We then get a tournament quarterfinal match for the Cruiserweight title. It's Lash LaRue versus Evan Courageous with the other 2 members of 3 Count in tow. They played the wrong music.
I was just going to say,
music.
Why did Evan come out to his OG music?
Yes, I don't know. Lash jumps them before their song, and this would become a frequent thing. It's like the running bit that they don't get to perform the song. I don't think, like, there's a few of them that are funny when they get jumped, but they just, again, they do everything to death here. The match is brief. The boy band unsuccessfully tried to interfere. I will say, like, if they had just been left to it for a little while, they wrestled at a decent clip. I think this is maybe, I know it's like 3 minutes long, but it's maybe the most consistently okay Lash has looked so far.
Yeah, it's funny. Lash almost acts as the veteran of this match, kind of.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
I will say, in all of 3 to 4 minutes, they make the referees look absolutely incompetent because it's basically a 3-on-1 match for large spots of the match. Almost
the entire match, yes. Yeah. Now, here's the other thing, the one criticism I will say. This is the debut of the Whiplash 2000, which, if you thought the original version of the Dirty Deeds in WWE when Ambrose did the headlock driver, if you thought that looked dumb, I've got news.
Well, this is like a cravat Russian leg sweep, isn't it?
Yeah, well, cravat or headlock Russian leg sweep. The only thing that looks good about it is he does a really neat float over.
Yes.
When they take the bump, it's like a really smooth transition into the pin. So I will give him that. The move is one of those, like, we are blissfully still years away from where everyone's finish on the indies was incredibly fucking contrived. But it looks like one of those. Like you'd pop on just a random Chikara show.
Do you know what this...
this would be called like the time-traveling fish slap or something like that.
This should have been Lash's side effect. Not to mention Matt Hardy again, but like...
Yeah.
You know the way Hardy would have that move for like, 27 years and never win a match with it?
Yeah.
Like, this is what this should have been for Lash. This should have been his setup for the finish.
Yeah. We get the NWO refusing some club sandwiches, insisting they want lobster and filet mignon. We then get the Randy padded cell Slim Jim commercial. We get Dustin Rhodes doing a "Don't try this at home" ad. We get it twice on this show.
Leave the rough stuff to the pros, Dave.
Yeah. Now, you know what could have improved this? If you did it in full 7 gimmick. Because that would scare the shit out of kids into not doing this at home. I'll tell you that. It'd be like, don't do this at home or I'm going to get you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, spooky pedophile, sir.
You don't want me showing up at your window.
Yeah. Is that Drake? We then get the Gormless ones with Mean Gene.
Yes.
I will say, right, hate David Flair on record. I did chuckle a little at Crowbar, who has never spoken on any show we reviewed, cutting into like an old-timey mid-century and like carnival barker voice, promoting their match tonight. It's not the biggest laugh I have on the show. There is one laugh I have later on where I'm like, okay, you completely sold out a character, but this was very funny and it was worth doing.
Are you forgetting Crowbar's debut? Where he's
working the gas station.
Where he's a gas station attendant that has the name Crowbar.
Yes.
And he's basically David Flair because he goes, my name's Crowbar. And I like Crowbars.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that he spoke in that, yes. So, but we'll say this is his first promo then, will we? To be a bit more accurate. The first promo we've seen. Okay, so then the champs, the Mamalukes, jump them to start the match. Now, the first 20 seconds of this match, 5 stars.
This is Vito getting backdropped into the snow?
Yes. When there is weather or a body of water nearby, you must incorporate this into your wrestling show. If you are in a town that is near a river, somebody needs to get fucked into the water. They need to get hoofed off a bridge or some shit. When there's snow, you need to do this shit. They burst straight outside into the snow. Vito takes a big back body drop on a snow drift.
The neatly packed stack of snow by the door.
Yes. And trash bags.
Yes.
This is followed by the Gormless ones throwing snow on themselves in celebration. I really wish if they had stayed out here doing snow spots, I would have loved this so much. But unfortunately, it's WCW. They have to take the fun out of everything. So they just brawl back.
Hang on. You're into snow spots, but you weren't into snowballs on the Raw episode.
Correct. Because you see, and there is a consistency here, a logical consistency. This is played for laughs. The one on Raw was played for our lads to be at home going, and that is the key difference.
No, hang on. Snowballs was Al Snow and Steve Blackman, not the Snow Bunnies.
Oh, I thought you meant the Snow Bunnies.
You're getting confused.
Yes. No, okay, well, then there is logical consistency because one of those things involved Al Snow, so therefore it was bad.
See, that's what I was setting you up for.
Yes. Okay, yes. Okay. Yeah. I'm correct. Still.
See, David Flair is up here and Al Snow is down here. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, like that's just you're talking about layers in a bin. So it's all in the bin. Does it really matter how far down the bin after a certain point?
Listen, at a certain point, you still have to say one thing is better than the other.
I don't know if I do. I think I'll plead the fifth. So they just do a walk and brawl all the way to the ring. Tony, who either doesn't care or is a couple of drinks deep already this evening, he has like a snow shovel, which Tony calls a snow snuzzle. In the ring, Vito just battering David Flair, including a crutch to the crotch, then cracks it over his back, and the beating continues. Miss Hancock arrives, writing notes. And again, it's like that whole, the Yakuza fight in The Simpsons, where it's like the guy in the little white suit, and it's like, as soon as I look away, he's going to start doing something. Every time I start typing notes, I'm just like, this is the week where they're just going to go full pervert mode with Miss Hancock, and she's going to start doing the dancing. I am perplexed. I did not remember how fucking long this woman is on TV before
So what you're
They
saying
do
is
the gimmick.
you are amazed at the patience that has been shown.
Yeah, long-term storytelling. Yeah. That's definitely what I'm saying. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, you don't think they're planting seeds by having her come out during the David Flair matches?
Because also she's like, she shows up later on the show, and I'm like, okay, now they're going to do the bit. No, because like anyway, it's just it's weird, like doing a slow build to an like to what the gimmick becomes is it's so fucking weird.
You think it's a slow build because you know where it goes. They had no idea on this night they were going to have her dance on the table.
No, I'm sorry, Lee. I'm going to pull you on that one. This is WCW.
Okay, they knew at some stage they were going to have her stripping.
Yes, and yes. So it is a slow build because they know they're going to do it.
I mean, look,
that's like, a woman has showed up in WCW for more than 2 weeks in a row. They are going to do it. I don't want them to, but they will.
I mean, look, they have showed incredible restraint with Tori. She has only been kidnapped twice so far.
Yeah. She's been trafficked multiple times on the show.
Slapped on air live.
Yes.
I mean, I think they have shown incredible restraint in the 9 months she's been on TV. So I would say I don't need to give them credit for holding off on Stacey dancing on the table.
Gone through at least one full name change because without explaining why, because who the fuck cares? Like, in their mind. Fucking hell.
Oh, God.
And it's funny because over on the other channel, in a technical sense, I guess they're having the women wrestle. And yet it's probably even worse, the booking.
So what you're saying is you want the cat to be dancing on the announce table in front of Jerry Lawler?
Look, no. What I'm saying is, on this particular week, Stacey Keebler coming out greased up weirdly. Like, every time she's greased up. Right?
She slid into that suit. That's what you were trying to say here, Dave. She slithered into that pencil skirt.
She's just standards and practices kind of throw her down the ramp like they're playing curling. But having her come out like that and not dance on a table is somehow in this weird fucked up world of 2000 is somehow better than what they did in an actual wrestling match on the other channel.
I don't think you can call it a wrestling match when it takes place in the
bell
padding
rang,
full of cocaine. I long for the days of Medusa versus Oklahoma.
You're pining for Oklahoma getting barbecue sauce all over himself.
Oh, God.
Back when there was respect for this division. That's what you're saying.
This is fucking it's so bad.
Yeah.
Dave, the tag titles were on the line in this match.
Yeah, tag titles unbelievably on the line in this.
And unbelievably, by this commentary, we have still shown more respect to the tag titles than WCW did.
Yeah, we have. By not mentioning it, we've tried to keep the tag titles out of this mess. I will also say that, like, the Tony Creepy Lear slider has been turned up a couple of notches this week because, like, they do a shot, like a camera shot of the whole announce table and Stacey leaning on the side of it, because that's where she's progressed to, is leaning on the side of the table. And, like, Tony is full on, like, he's the cartoon wolf fully out of his chair at this stage. Yeah, it really makes you feel good. I like the thing as well is like now old timey granddad Tony that works for AEW now is certainly fucking mortified about like being any willing participant in this. Which makes me feel bad because they essentially ran it back that time we talked about it, I think,
Yes.
on the podcast. About the time they ran it back with Tony on the announce table.
Where he's like, eyes up, Tony, eyes up.
Yeah. Anyway, I will say, right, already, only being introduced to the crowd like a couple of months ago, Crowbar gets the best reactions of anybody in this match. He's doing he's doing dives.
I still think Vito is the most over part of this match.
He's most over with us, I would say. But like Crowbar does a dive, which is going to get a great reaction, obviously, but also generally is just a much more at a basic level competent professional wrestler than anybody else involved.
That is true.
Crowbar puts a table on top of Johnny, goes up top, but Disco makes the save. The Mamalukes put Crowbar on the table. Vito splashes him for the win. It felt like a splash where Vito was halfway through the air before he decided what move he was going to finish with, because it looked like he was going to do like the diving elbow. Then I think he bailed out of it and did a splash. Then we get Knobs and a stack of cash going to the NWO. Wants them to get rid of Finlay by putting him against Lex Luger. I like, why? Like, why is that the guy where it's like, okay, if somebody's going to put someone on the shelf right now, like, I guess technically he did it with Sting, but they blow up their own cannon by basically going, Sting's been off filming a movie, not injured later in the show.
That is true. Yes.
Anyway,
you know, do you know what? They have done a decent job establishing Lex Luger as this kind of killer guy. It's more so Liz.
Yeah. Yeah, she is fucking killing.
She's violent.
Yes, she is. She has violent sensibilities. Jared says, yes, okay, I can guarantee you they will be in the same ring tonight, no problem. Then we have, again, the latest chapter in storyline. I already can't wait till it's over.
God, they foreshadow bringing back G.I. Bro.
Yeah. Booker is out, but then Biggs comes out with Harlem Heat to explain that he can't use the music anymore. And he can't use the T.
Importantly, he cannot have the flames on his gear because
yes,
this is when we get the fucking Booker T in the trunks.
Yep. T says to him, "Let's settle the T right now." Biggs says, "Relax, don't worry." Shoos the two of them away. Biggs continues dressing down Booker. Midnight sneaks up behind, throws Biggs into the ring. Booker T finally gets his hands on Biggs, smacks him, hits an enormous atomic drop where I thought he was going to lose him over his shoulder. Harlem Heat come out really slow for trying to save their new boy. A brawl breaks out. The heels beat down Booker. And then Tony again in full not giving a shit mode go, oh, he's selling the neck now.
Yep.
Great job, Tone.
Yeah, because Biggs gets up and then instantly clutches the neck like, you know, one of those injury insurance fucking adverts.
Yeah. We have the first Norman segment of the night. There will be a much funnier... This gets funnier as time goes on. The first one is just him being beaten up by 3 count. Jeff tells Fit Finlay that he will live up to his word. He will be in the same ring as Lex, but as the referee. And then he says to the NWO, I did say I could be bought, but I never said what price. So, whatever price it takes to buy him, Mark Madden could afford, but it's too rich for Knobs' blood.
I mean, that makes sense. Knobs is a fucking idiot.
Yes. Yeah, well, he certainly is. Then, Norman encounters the preposterous sarcophagus, which I think we can all agree definitely looks like a sex thing.
Well... I don't know if I agree with that, but, you know, I think you still need to stop calling it a sarcophagus.
Nope. It's the preposterous sarcophagus. It'll be the preposterous sarcophagus until a second one shows up, at which point it will be the superfluous sarcophagus.
I mean, it's just a demon's coffin. I mean, I don't know why you're getting so technical with this.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm going in on the demon lore because as he examines the preposterous sarcophagus, he notes that all of the demon's gear is inside, thus implying Dale Torborg is roaming the arena nude, which I think we can all agree much scarier than the character of the demon.
I mean, I think a much scarier possibility is that Dale Torborg is roaming the arena still dressed as MVP.
Yeah, that's what's under the demon gear is the MVP full outfit.
Yes.
Norman goes in, it immediately begins closing, and would you believe he starts screaming? But I will say the visual of this preposterous sarcophagus closing around Norman as he's screaming is very funny. Okay? There are two payoffs to this. The first of which is a little funny, and then another one is very funny,
yes.
but we will get to it.
I have to ask Dave, which is a better gimmick?
Okay.
Is it the demon coffin, or is it Gob Blute's Aztec coffin?
The Aztec tomb.
The Aztec tomb, sorry. The Aztec tomb.
Yeah.
Which is a better
it's
gimmick?
illusion, Michael. Trick is what a whore does for money. Or candy.
Which is a better gimmick?
Well, I don't know, because no one died in the preposterous sarcophagus, but for at least for a while, Job thought he killed Earl Milford.
That is true.
Yeah.
And only one has been on a boat.
Yes,
in international
true.
waters.
Yes.
Until Jericho books.
Well, that we know of.
Until Jericho
books
books the demon.
Yeah, but also, like, Spring Break Nitro is coming.
Yeah, but that's on land.
Yeah, but did they ship the preposterous sarcophagus via the ocean? Who's to say?
What was Dale Torborg situated in the preposterous sarcophagus? I can't believe you're going to make me say this all the time.
I am. Oh, you think this is going to be a T-shirt, mate?
God,
that's it. Like a young adult horror novel is Dale Torborg in the case of the preposterous sarcophagus.
Hey, listen, one thing I've learned from listening to the flagship over the past number of weeks is that preposterous sarcophaguses and demons and dragons being fucking sexual objects is the hot new thing.
Yeah, it is. It's so hot right now, like Hansel. Where am I even with this show? Oh yeah, okay. Singles match, Kidman versus The Wall. I was kind of like surprised at the start that like they really do a job trying to put over Kidman, saying that like this is a rematch of the final match from the Triple Threat Theater that he was called into at the last minute. And I'm kind of like, I'm sitting there going, them talking about Kidman being like arguably the toughest competitor in all of WCW right now. I was like, okay, I get this, but why, if this is what you're trying to do, did you not just have him beat The Wall? Like, just...
Oh no, he has to have outside interference.
Yeah,
because the wall is so protected, Dave.
I genuinely thought they were just about to run it back because they did the thing where Kidman's doing some like, you know, ricocheting around the place, like doing some quick attacks. Wall can't get his hand on him, and then he runs into a big boot. And I was like, is he just going to beat him again? Gets caught in a gorilla press. Wall bullies him around for a minute. It's interesting because the crowd definitely loves Billy Kidman. But even though The Wall beat him and people saw him beat him, they still don't buy that he'll beat him here.
No.
Like, there's no peril. There's no sense of jeopardy.
Also, they don't
crowd.
really care that much if Billy Kidman loses to The Wall. I think that's also part of it. They care about Kidman, but they don't care that much about Kidman.
Yeah. He hits the don't powerbomb Kidman for 2. Finish for this was weird, wasn't it, Lee?
Yeah, so we know over the past week, and it is just over the past week, they've started doing the Vampiro Kidman series. And Kidman gets caught in some kind of move, and Vampiro comes out and hits a spin kick off the top to the wall.
He's up for the choke slam.
The choke slam, is it? Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was. I didn't have it in my notes. But Vamp hits a spin kick to the wall, and Kidman falls into the pin.
Yeah.
Just
it's weird because like the commentators seemed unsure as to who Vampiro had attacked, because he kind of crashes into both of them really awkwardly.
When obviously, if he wanted Kidman to be laid out, he would have just left him to be chokeslammed.
And if he wanted Kidman to be laid out, once he saw, because he was still in the ring when Kidman landed on top of him for the pin, would he not have broken the pin?
Yeah.
He just started walking away. Absolutely fucking no sense at all. Flair on the way out. Scott Hall then with the NWO wants to know who Sid's partners are, but Jeff ain't telling yet because he has to wait for the next segment to happen for it to make sense, of course. Flair in the ring with Mean Woo by God Gene, who says that Flair could run for governor. I think like the Flair... This is an interesting promo segment where it's a back and forth eventually between Flair and Terry Funk. And I thought this segment vacillated between being a great promo segment and a dog shit promo segment almost minute to minute.
Yes. So I thought the initial portion of the promo where it's Gene and Flair was I won't say top tier, but like an upper tier Ric Flair being a Ric Flair promo.
Yeah. The one bit I didn't like about the early phase is when he basically like breaks kayfabe by talking about how like the writers called him to come back and be the commissioner, which did actually happen.
Yes, but also you know that to me is classed as Ric Flair just being Ric Flair. He was like he was the most Ric Flair he could possibly be in like that initial portion of the promo. Where it gets really fucking weird is when Funk comes out.
Yeah. But there's a couple of good lines. Like there's you can tell there's juice in them going back to the well with Flair and Funk.
Yes.
But they also WCW is like they want to go back to the well, but they also don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's really weird.
And also basing the feud off Mick Foley's book.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a second. There's a line here that's great where Rick says, Terry, you thought if I came back, maybe we could be friends, maybe we could be allies. But you're Terry Funk and I'm Ric Flair. Is a great fucking line. Because everybody, that pays off. Like, it kind of, if you don't know the context, it sounds just like, you know, elitist Four Horsemen Flair. But if you do know the context, you're just like, no, we have too much history to be friends, which is great. So he says, like, get your ass here, let's straighten out. He gives out to Shivani saying, don't you know God's standing in the ring? Funk comes out, calls Rick a banana-nosed, horse-toothed evil bastard. You've been... I did... Until he revealed why he was saying this, it was building up to be a great Funk moment where he's like, you have been champion more than anyone. You have made millions more than anyone in wrestling. You are a household name, but you are still a jealous man. And then he goes, you know how I know that? Because it comes from a statement in Mick Foley's book. And I was like, fuck off. Like, you should not be acknowledging this.
Nope.
Like, I totally agree with the whole AEW philosophy that wrestling history is the history of this company. This is a complete misread of, you should acknowledge, like, you know what I mean, people who had feuds elsewhere have history elsewhere. But there are moments where you're basically just reminding people of a much better company that's much hotter than you right now. You know?
Yep. And also, you know, this is a case in point where you have on-screen characters telling your fans to go read this book that breaks kayfabe and points out that Ric Flair was booking this fucking company and a lot of people weren't happy with it. And
do you know, one of the other things I was thinking is that by the end of this promo, because of this mention, the match you want to see most is Ric Flair versus Mick Foley.
Yes. It's now, Terry Funk is now an advocate for Ric Foley.
It's the classic Bischoff McMahon promo thing where you're building to a match they can't give you. You know what I mean? He says that Yeah, so the statement in the book, if you never read the book, which you should, is that at this time particularly, Foley hates Flair.
Yeah.
And says that Ric Flair wouldn't make a decent-sized pimple on Terry Funk's ass. Terry then pans to saying, why don't you just look at your own son on TV acting like a fool and an idiot? He needs discipline. Basically says if he was his son, he'd take him around the back of the shed and beat the shit out of him. Again, I don't agree that Foley was brought up, but I did like the one line that Flair has where it's like, if Foley thinks I'm just a pimple on your ass, he has not watched TV in 27 years. Was a good line.
Mm-hmm.
There's a weird the thing that annoys Terry Funk the most is he says, I have more world titles than you have chickens on your farm, and he's like, chickens.
Yeah. Being a chicken farmer is the biggest insult apparently.
Yeah, a good stepping the toe over the line of content wise was the line where he's like, come here, talk to me face to face, and I will, and I quote, slap the shit out of you. Was good. The most telling, this is real Richard Fleer's thoughts on this segment, was when he said, I am wearing an Armani suit and an Armani tie, and I have to beat up Terry Funk. What happened to WCW? He said. Funk decks him, puts on a spinning toe hold. They fight. Security comes apart. They do a pull apart. Gets a really good reaction in the building, but like we said, a very up and down promo.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff says, looking at that segment, we have clearly found two partners for Sid. We then get a little preview of Shudder Speed, starring Real Estate Steve.
Yeah.
Gene is then... That's a movie that happened.
It's definitely a movie that was recorded and released.
It definitely doesn't look like a fake movie within a movie, like a fake movie that people are watching on TV in a movie. Gene backstage with Sid. Sid cuts a great promo here.
Yeah, I mean,
like it's not like Hall of Fame, top tier legendary, but it's a fucking great pro wrestling 30-second promo.
Sid promises to powerbomb somebody to hell. That's all you want.
He said, like, Gene asked him to react to the NWO giving him the two men that were just fighting each other as partners tonight, and said he wouldn't expect anything less from those cowards. And he says, yeah, tonight I promise you someone is getting powerbombed straight to hell. Mm-hmm. Great. Then we get Miss Hancock with Lenny and Lodi, and they are Lenny and Lodi, well, not officially, but this is them shirking off the standards and practices gimmick, or at least attempting to. They said they refused to put on monkey suits. I did get a little giggle at them saying, look, we know the two of us are just the eye candy to get you over.
Great bit.
Which is definitely what everybody was thinking. I don't like them using the phrase get over, but I did laugh. I will give them that. She said they're lucky to have a job, and this is a moment again where WCW can't stop telling you how bad WCW is, because Lenny rolls his eyes and says, oh yeah, we're real lucky to have a job with WCW.
Mm-hmm.
Say they have to go to speak to somebody about getting their names right. Then we get Lex, Liz, and the Chair on the way out to the ring. Brian Knobbs versus Total Package. Just a fucking sham of a special guest referee match. The one thing you will say about Fit Finlay in this match, in his defense, he does the correct way to do the heel special guest ref gimmick, where the match starts, he just punches Knobbs' lights out. Then as soon as Knobbs tries to do a move off the top, he stands in the way so he can get hit with a baseball bat, and then just leaves.
Yeah. I mean,
so, fair enough. That's the whole match.
More special referees should be like that.
And you want to talk about foreboding moments as well. Once the match is over, Lex is walking up the ramp and says into the camera, calls himself the Cal Ripken of pro wrestling again. That's not the first time he said that. And not for the first time as well, he calls out Hulk Hogan. Our blissful holiday from the Hulkster is about to be at its end, but we'll talk about that in a few seconds.
Well, Dave, that's because the Super Bowl just happened.
Yes.
So Terry got to come back from holidays.
Mm-hmm. We've now got 2 segments in a row that were quick and that made me laugh. The first is, again, the in-canon implications are tremendous. where the preposterous sarcophagus reopens and Norman Smiley is in full demon gear and gimmick.
Can you give me a storyline reason for why Norman's makeup was done in the preposterous sarcophagus?
It is perhaps a transmogrifying preposterous sarcophagus.
Transmogrifying?
Yes.
Can you?
It changes one into a different form.
I was just going to say, can you use that in a sentence?
Yes. Norman Smiley used the transmogrifying preposterous sarcophagus.
Oh, fucking hell. Yes.
And emerged as a man who would later be identified as, of course, the Screaming Demon.
Yes, great name.
Which is a much better application for the gimmick than Dale Torborg. I know Aaron Quinn was in our Discord arguing that it should have stayed with Bryan Adams. No, it should have been Norman Smiley's, the Screaming Demon. There's no better way for Gene Simmons to go, do you know what, actually, you don't need to do the main events. This is tarnishing my reputation too much, than to have Norman Smiley screaming and running away and getting beaten up by 3 count while dressed as the Kiss Demon.
I mean, listen, if the Kiss Demon did the Demon Slam followed by the big Demon Wiggle every week.
Yeah.
I can't say it wouldn't have been over.
Now, I need to say, for this next little backstage segment, people need to know about me that one of my favourite movies of all time is Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And one of the funniest gags in that movie that people don't put, because people always quote, you know, 'tis but a scratch. Mm-hmm. They quote, you know, your father was a hamster, or your mother was a hamster, and your father smelled of elderberries. That, you know, go away or I shall taunt you for a second time. All that stuff, great gags, brilliant. She turned me into a newt. You name it, there's a great gag, wall-to-wall great gag. The best running bit in that whole movie is that very early they do a cutaway to a historian explaining Arthurian legend, and he gets killed by a knight on horseback. And every 20 minutes or so, they cut back to the ongoing investigation into what happened. And the movie ends with all the main characters being arrested for being implicated in the murder.
That's
right?
True, it's great bit.
So, in the vein of that gag, I'm like, okay, so like obviously like Dale Torborg is going to come after, and we might have a Dale Torborg versus Norman Smiley match on this show. That is not the direction it went, because we came back from commercial and Dale Torborg is making a statement to police about his missing gear, right? And this show, maybe I've just lost my mind, right? We've been covering WCW for 5 years.
Yes.
And in that entire time, we've had some great funny moments, okay? Intentionally and not intentionally. I think what I'm about to recount is the funniest intentional joke that has been written in this timeline, which is the policeman with a stone cold serious face said, so what did this gear look like? And Dale Torborg, completely seriously, like he's acting in an Oscar nominated movie, exasperated, just says, what do you mean, what does it look like? It looked like Kiss. Because you need to understand as well, he's standing there in full Gene Simmons makeup in tiny pants that say Kiss on his arse. What do you mean, what does it look like? It looked like fucking Kiss. It's so fucking good. It's so I don't know if it's just that I have the giggles tonight, but I was just like, that is
genius.
Oh,
yeah, it really
so
was.
Good. It's so good. It was like, again,
do you
the
know what?
hit rate is poor. Between this and the Old Man Detectives the other week on Thunder, I was like, there's a couple of really good jokes sneaking in here.
Do you know what gets me?
What?
Is that he's just Dale Torborg in makeup, in his Kiss shorts. Just saying.
And then we'll get to it later, but they do the Holy Grail payoff. Like, this ends in the police storming the ring. Like,
But he's not putting on a voice. It's just Dale Torborg making
just,
a police report.
He's not putting on a speaking voice. The only thing I was trying to think, what would be my edit? What would be my note to make this even funnier? The only thing that would make it funnier is if, as he was talking in normal Dale Torborg voice, the fake blood was just slowly seeping out of his mouth. Just like drops going on the policeman's notebook.
Oh God, yeah, no, it's genuinely one of the funniest bits. Like it did stop me in my tracks because it's just like, this is brilliant.
I also weighed up, would it be too much? Would they be overdoing the gag if after the segment we watch later, that the ultimate payoff is like the police find him and tackle him to the ground, but they arrest Dale Torborg thinking he's Norman Smiley.
I mean, listen, they're cops in America, so, you know, it wouldn't be like them to be incompetent.
Oh, Jesus. It was so... Anyway, Shane Helms is who's wrestling Norman Smiley.
No. The Screaming Demon.
Yeah, sorry, the Screaming Demon. All 3 of 3 count, jump him at the bell. They hit a double suplex. They hit a frog splash. Tony gives us all the bad news that Hogan called in to the switchboard at TBS and says that he'd heard everything Lex has said and he is returning on Thunder.
Can't wait.
It will be interesting to see if that pops the rating. Norman demons up, wiggles, beats him. Then he hoofs them all out of the ring with his newfound superpowers. It is very funny that he's wrestling with confidence now.
He always does against 3 counts. It's the only people he wrestles with confidence against.
Yeah. Hoofs them all out of the ring, and then, yes, the police storm the ring, and he bails into the crowd with Dale Torborg in hot pursuit. Just like you always hope for an oasis like this. Certainly because now the show careens off a cliff for the last 3 segments. The Mamalukes walk up and Vito, I think it is, slaps Kimberly on the arse, and then she turns around and said it was Disco. Paige spends 2 segments then, one either side of the break. He attacks Disco, it goes to break, comes back. Disco was talking to some dude and goes, yeah, she wishes I did it. And then just Paige attacks him again. This leads to them. The match starts between the two of them, brawling through the curtain. It's quick and unremarkable. Paige hits a cutter. He wins. He does his pose, and then the pyro explodes and scares the shit out of half the crowd.
Yeah, he leads through the crowd. I will say you missed the most important part of when DDP and Kimberly are with Gene. Gene finds out that normalcy has returned to their relationship. They are fucking. And all is good.
Good. Thank God. I was worried about that. 6-man tag main event, which I fuck all to say about. Jeff Jarrett and the Harris Brothers versus Ric Flair, Sid Vicious, and Terry Funk. Rick doesn't show up.
Yes. So it's a 3-on-2, Dave. It's a night of handicap match.
Another handicap match.
Yeah.
Another handicap match. Brawl in the aisle. It's a lot of Terry Funk selling for the Harris Brothers. People are really into Sid. It's one of those, we said that people weren't biting on hope spots a lot on this show, but one thing they were biting on was the build for the hot tag here.
I actually, do you know what? I did like the closing stretch of the match. So, like you said, it's a lot of Funk selling for the NWO early in the match, and it builds to the Sid hot tag. And I like that the closing stretch is Sid takes out one of the Harris Brothers with a powerbomb. The pin gets interrupted, or chokeslam. The pin gets interrupted. He then takes out the other Harris brother with a powerbomb. The pin gets interrupted. And then we get to the finish where Jarrett pins Sid. So it's you see that Sid is obviously the better man. He is clearly better than the NWO.
Yeah. Because he has been left alone.
Yes.
Because Funk has been beaten to death, and the commentary makes notice of the fact that he's slumped over their table trying to recover.
Oh yeah, we should say Flair ran out and attacked Funk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Funk is out of commission. So he is easily Sid fighting off the 3 of them until Jeff hits the acoustic equalizer.
Yes.
So 3 men have to cheat to beat 1 man.
Yes.
And one thing I will say, they redid the championship angle last week, which I don't like. But one thing you have to say is, like, they're having Sid blow through everybody. Like, Sid is clearly being positioned as, like, oh, he didn't win this match.
The guy.
But they're clearly telling you 3 shows in a row, more than 3 shows in a row, that this is the guy now.
Do you know what's funny?
Now, Hogan's back in a couple of days, so.
No, but, like, genuinely, like, who was the last person to beat Sid, Dave?
Who was the last person to beat Sid Lee?
Goldberg.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, Benoit did as well, but that had the caveat. But it was Goldberg. And
they're not talking about that match anymore.
And who's the person that comes back in a couple of months?
Yeah.
And who's the person that they turn heel?
Mm-hmm.
And who's the person that they had champ for a majority of those months?
Yeah.
Sid.
Again, longest title reign for a long time, this one we're going
like,
for.
They genuinely could have built to Goldberg Sid again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, we
and people would have been into it with the dynamic flipped. Like,
we said, like, the hottest matches on those shows was Goldberg Sid.
Yeah. You can clearly tell classic WCW pacing, though, that, like, literally the bell rings. Jeff Jarrett is, like, gets up on top of the ropes, and as soon as he does to celebrate, we're out of time. Over.
Yeah, the video cuts off for me.
There's not even a moment of sitting in it.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose, Lee, you know, we don't have, obviously, because this isn't a Thunder, so we don't have the finish counter brought to you by Ludwig Borga. What I would like from you is a winner and loser from each show, and who won the night for you in terms of, like, obviously we know with ratings, but in terms of quality of the program.
Okay, we'll start with the winner and loser from each show. I mean, we did Raw so long ago, it feels like. But for me, the loser on the show is very obviously, as you pointed out, Big Show. That man is somehow being punished on air for having a haircut. Multiple people take shots at him throughout tonight. Also, shout out to the women's division that has been killed, dead. As for a winner on Raw, I mean, there's nobody that comes out. I mean, do you know what? The APA. We saw the establishment of the APA and Kurt Angle, because goddamn, every time I go back and watch early Kurt Angle, I'm amazed at how fucking great he is.
How quickly he...
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a well-worn talking point, how quickly he gets it, but it still bears repeating, doesn't it?
But then WCW, I mean, the most obvious loser tonight for me is Brian Knobbs. Just looks like an absolute fucking goof, and he's now been fucking destroyed by Liz and Luger.
Yeah. I would also add maybe that one policeman.
I also think, again, Flair has been brought back and his role is already incredibly confused because he's a face, getting a face pop return, and now he's the heel in a feud with Terry Funk.
Yeah.
All in the space of a couple of minutes. The big winner on Nitro for me is Sid. Sid just comes, like, it's well worn with me at this point that Sid just comes across like the biggest star in this fucking show. God, they were doing so much right with Sid, and when you compare the presentation of Sid on WCW as just the man to what we are so disappointed in and what they were doing with Cactus on Raw.
Yeah.
It's kind of almost night and day in that sense. The week to week with Sid was so good. The pay-per-views were ultimately hit and miss. Whereas with Cactus, the week to week was like, God, what are they doing? But the pay-per-views delivered so incredibly well that everyone forgets it.
Yeah, it's one of the things that the way people consume stuff now, it helps WWF like smooth over that, because people aren't by and large, watching Raws week to week in between the pay-per-views when they're looking at nostalgia content. They just go Royal Rumble, No Way Out. It's one of the all-time great feuds. And those are two of the all-time great matches in feuds that company did during that period. But yes, the in-between
the more you
hit and miss, shall we say.
The more you watch the week to week, you go, God, how did they get there?
Yeah.
Ultimately, for me, I enjoyed Nitro more than Raw. I don't know how you feel about
I think
it.
so. I mean, look, the sheer laughter that I got out of that one dumb bit with the gear, orders of magnitude better.
Yeah.
Like wrestling, it's, six of one, half a dozen of the other, really.
But I also do think Nitro had the better wrestling.
Well, yeah, Billy Kidman was on one show, so.
Yeah. And I mean, look, it's a fucking small sample size, but I think Mama Luke's against Flair and Crowbar was much better than the Outlaws versus Head Cheese.
Yes, it certainly was. Yeah.
Like, if you want to do straight comparison, like 1-to-1s, I genuinely do think Nitro had a better night.
Yeah, probably. Ratings did not reflect that,
obviously.
but the horse had already bolted a long time by that point. Anyway, thank you all so much for listening to this bumper edition of Nights of Nitro and Raw. We will be back behind the paywall next week at largemanapears.com. We will be back in 2 weeks here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.
One of us will be back.
I will be back. Yeah, I'll be back whenever the fuck.
Okay, Arnold.
And yeah, fucking weird. Like, I will always remember this show, not just because of the preposterous sarcophagus, but just as...
All right.
I'll tell you, there will be
You're not leaving the show yet. Don't fucking start giving a fucking teary-eyed speech.
No, but just that there'll be like a running themed. I'll have no shortage of dad banter to delay us from talking about wrestling going forward. This is the last time I'm gonna have to grab at straws for what I've been doing this week.
When you log back in, you're gonna be fucking Phil Dunphy all of a sudden.
Hey, look, all I'm saying is parenting podcasts are making huge fucking bank at the moment. Like, we could pivot.
Ooh.
We could pivot, mate. I'm telling you.
We might have to have an off-air discussion about this. I wasn't aware of this.
A wrestling parenting podcast, like bad wrestlers, good dads. Is there an avenue there? Patent pending. No one steal that. We gotta go. We got work to do. Yeah. Okay, see you soon, guys. Bye.
Hi, I'm Case Lowe, co-host of the Open the Voice Gate podcast. The one question I'm constantly asked when it comes to Dragon Gate is, how do I get into the promotion? Well, stop asking and start listening to the Open the Voice Gate podcast, released every Wednesday on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. For exclusive news and show reviews, look no further than the leader in Dragon Gate coverage, Open the Voice Gate.
All you homeowners have unique needs. Some feel the need to leave up holiday decorations year-round. Others have the need to use their garage as practice space for their new metal band. And because each homeowner has unique needs, Geico helps you get the right coverage for your home and what's in it. That way, you get exactly what's right for you, even if your needs are unique. Get more with Geico.